King Buchu. Welcome to BDA Boxing, the boxing debate arena. This is not Open Lines Friday. We're not having an Open Lines Friday. We're having a limited panel show. You can join, but it's going to be limited, and there's going to be rotations. I don't feel like having a chaotic show again. So, yeah, the Open Lines Fridays, they still exist. They're going to be coming up later on, but not today. Not today. BDA is here. Hey, BDA, remember at some point, I remember you guys also in the chat, Shannon Briggs was also he was chasing Vladimir Klitschko. He was, showing up wherever Klitschko was. And at some point he tried to go into enter, I think it was a press conference where Vladimir Klitschko was in Germany. And then he was trying to, to barge in. And then all the security guards were like, no, you can't come in. No, not today. Not today. It's like they're telling him not today. That was funny. But yeah, whatever happened to Shannon Briggs? What's I gonna say? Yeah, today we have a special show. It's the wish list, boxing wish list. So we're gonna be writing down what we want in boxing and what we don't want in boxing. So here I wrote already. Oh wait, shout out to everybody in the chat. The Handy History Vault, Rafael Garza, Alejandro Solis, Mars Boxeo, Fight Sport Talk. Who else? Rafael Garza, Alejandro Solis, yeah. Dark Hado. I think I saw, the Quacks, some Rando. Who else? Pancho Villa. Let's go, champ. But yeah, so boxing wish list, we're going to write a bunch of stuff here. I already wrote one. Announcers that don't yell like Bruce Buffer. So we have now Diamante. He's not bad, in the sense that I think he has an okay voice, but the thing is, he needs to switch it up over here. We don't need another Bruce Buffer like in the UFC. Anybody can yell. I can yell. I could do that. Hey, you, we have. It's like, no, you got to be classy. This is boxing. So people should try to imitate Michael Buffer or Jimmy Lennon Jr. Those are the standards in boxing. Okay, we don't need somebody yelling. Anybody can do that. All right. So let's keep it classy. No yelling, no jumping around. It's ridiculous. All right. So let me see what we have here. BDA is probably setting up his mic or something. Oh yeah, I'm gonna post the link. Limited panel, guys. Limited panel. You can't stay in here forever. Then, if we hear the same voices all the time, it gets boring. If you guys hear my voice, you're probably already bored of my fucking voice. So, you know what I mean. You understand me. All right. So, let's see. Boxing wish list. The Hand History Vault is saying, add my wish, Boots versus Cobbs. Okay, you know what? We should vote on this. Is that your wish? For real? La Gritona Diamante. Yeah. Diamante, he just screams a lot, yells. He needs to switch it up. Come on, guys, in the chat. Jesus Christ, write something down here. All right, we have Fight Sports Talk all the way from New Zealand. What's up, man? What's your wish?
I'm doing good, bros. Thanks for having me on.
No
Sorry?
problem. Yeah, give us your boxing wish.
Okay, well, how much time do I have?
Well, I don't know. How much do you need?
Okay, well, okay, we're going to go through, is this just for fights for this year or next year?
No, just anything you want to change in boxing. It doesn't necessarily have to be a fight. It could be a fight, but it could be anything. Like I said, I want proper announcers. What about you? What do you want?
All right, it would be, okay, my wish would be, I'm just thinking how to sum this up. Okay, it would be, twofold. It's to do with champions fighting contenders. So this is excluding all unifications. It would be a very set system when it comes to mandatories in terms of when they would be ordered. Also, what fighters would have to do to become mandatories, which we know is very inconsistent, but a very set system. And when it comes to voluntary challenges, there would have to be a number of rules for me in terms of what would be acceptable. So in other words, you couldn't fight a guy who just fought for a title in the last 2 years. It would have to be a fresh contender coming off a nice set of wins. And yeah,
okay, sorry. So you want clear rules?
Clear rules when it comes to champions fighting contenders, whether it's a mandatory or
determining who the mandatory is and how they're going to proceed to fighting. Or is that what you're saying?
Yeah, when it comes to mandatory challenges, there would need to be a nice set of rules that would need to be followed because we see too many mandatories, particularly in the IBF. The IBF are actually maybe the worst at this. Too many mandatories who are getting there by just being at the right place at the right time, and they're there because the IBF need to enforce a mandatory soon, so they've just picked someone out at random almost. You have guys who aren't actually having to fight other top contenders becoming mandatories. So that would definitely be something I would want to change because I'm all for mandatories, but as long as it makes sense and there's somebody who's deserving. And in terms of voluntary challenges, like I remember this example from many years ago. This is just one of the best ones that comes to mind. You had both Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua fighting pretty similar guys throughout the time period they were at the top of the sport, when there were plenty of fresh contenders who weren't getting their title shots and they deserved it. Like Eric Molina was recycled by both guys when he didn't earn a shot at either one of them, but he was a voluntary challenge for both guys. Dominic Brazil, kind of similar, and yeah, there's that was for the two top champions in the division at the time. So that would be one of the things that I would change. That there would need to be a strong set of rules that need to be followed. You couldn't just get a title shot because you were there at the right place at the right time. Your resume would need to justify it. Make sense?
Yes. So okay, so you have I see you already made up your rules there, but I understand what you're saying. It's not really clear, to be honest, especially when you have different sanctioning bodies. So yeah, so some clear. This is what boxing needs: some clear, defined rules for not only that, for everything. Like somebody in the chat here, who was it? Morris Boxeo says, apply a 3 clinch per round rule in boxing. After 3, the referee deducts a point. So it could be that. But for starters, to define if clinching is legal or not. From what I understand, it's illegal.
Yeah, well...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, it's... This is, that would actually probably be my second thing. Shout out to Mars Boxeo. It depends, because you just said clinching is legal, etc. Well, technically it is, but there's... depending on the referees, it's not enforced. The rules aren't enforced properly, because clinching with both hands, where you grab your opponent, that's supposed to be illegal. But fighters, aside from my understanding is that if fighters are getting hurt and rocked all over the place, some refs will allow you to clinch with both hands. But repeatedly, you see this from fighters. They clinch, and then in desperation they'll push you away with both palms on their opponent's chest, and that's completely illegal. So they clinch with both hands. They're not intending to fight in the clinch. Then they push you away, and they get away with both of them. So yeah, that's that would probably be the next.
It says here, holding and clinching. Boxers are not allowed to hold or grab their opponents to prevent them from punching. So if I grab one of your arms, I'm preventing you from using that arm to punch. So, that's illegal, right?
Yeah. And this is, I don't know if it's ever been fully...
No, it hasn't. No, that's for sure. Oh, for sure. Ever. I don't know in the past. Yeah. But this rule is never applied. And you see bosses constantly clinching, constantly... And the referees don't do anything. It's part of the. I mean, there was an interview. Somebody told me there's an interview right now on YouTube with Kenny Bayless and some other referee, and they're talking about clinching, and they saying, "Oh no, clinching is part of boxing." I think that's what Kenny Bayless said. Clinching is part of boxing. It's legal, something like that, unless you abuse it. But that's not true.
Yeah, well, I mean, he does have a point. I mean, clinching is part of boxing. I remember Larry Merchant said this after it was just give me a sec. It was actually during a Vladimir Klitschko title fight. Now, this was before Klitschko. This was when Klitschko used to he actually used to fight people before he just became a clinch master. And Larry Merchant said he said clinching was essentially a part of boxing, and in some ways it's kind of right. He is kind of correct. I mean, I'll have to watch the Kenny Bayless interview. My understanding is that clinching, where you go like maybe chest to chest, and you've got maybe one arm wrapped around your opponent, and you're trying to punch with the free arm, etc. That I think is what he means, because that's why we call it.
Okay, but that's his opinion, right?
Well, can I say something about that? Fight Sports Talk is right when when people say you're discussing whether clinching is legal or illegal. For some reason, people will come in and say, "Well, it's part of boxing." That's not the argument. Rape and murder are part of life. But that's not the argument. If you're arguing whether they're immoral or moral, that's the argument. Imagine that. Imagine you're discussing, hey, is rape and murder immoral or moral? And somebody goes, well, it's part of life. That doesn't answer the argument. It's the same thing here. Clinching unequivocally is illegal. If you look at the IBA, the WBC, the IBA, the WBA, the WBO, the Association of Boxing Commissions, they all say clinching is illegal. It's a form of defense, but it's not a form of boxing defense. Just like elbowing somebody is self-defense in the streets, but it's prevented or forbidden in boxing. The only one that makes a distinction between clinching and excessive clinching is the WBC. And for some reason, they don't explain why that's allowed. Well, maybe they'll say, well, it's part of boxing, but all the other ones don't allow it. And I've made the point before. Why is clinching bad for boxing? Because it dilutes the level of entertainment from the fight. It's unjust for one fighter, because most of the time referees will not allow one guy to foul to prevent the clinch as well. Case in point, the Benavidez example you pointed out. Benavidez trying to free himself from the clinches of Caleb Plant, and he starts using his forearm, and Kenny Bayless warns him for it and keeps allowing Caleb Plant to clinch. So then what is the fighter who's being clinched supposed to do? Right? I mean, what is the fighter that's being clinched supposed to do? If the referee won't protect him, and then Kenny Bayless has the goal in that video, YouTube, you mentioned, Butcher, to say, he's acting all smug, like, hey, Benavidez, you were doing bad things too? Really? Other than the forum, which you warned him against, what else was he doing?
So he's agreeing that Plant was doing some bad things and he didn't do anything about it?
Exactly. There you go. That's a great point. But you see, that's why. And on top of that, he doesn't give examples about what Benavidez is doing. The forum thing, that's what I brought it up. He doesn't bring it up in that video. I mean, it's just a complete hogwash. And let me just continue on real quick. So it dilutes the level of entertainment from the fight. It's unjust from one fighter to the other. And it prevents us, the boxing fans, from finding out who the best fighter is. Because like I said, if one guy's being allowed to clinch and the other guy can't break the rules or bend them to prevent the clinching, and it's an unfair fight, and we're not really finding out who the best boxer is within the skill set of boxing.
Yeah, that was a perfect example you mentioned of clinching that is completely illegal, where you just grab your opponent and you're not trying to fight, you're just trying to shut them down ASAP. I mean, that's what Caleb Plant was doing from the second round in that fight, and he got away with it. I mean, Kenny Bayless's refereeing was absolutely abysmal. But going back to, again, what I'm trying to, I mean, I've been watching boxing since I was a teenager, and I still don't know the rules back because they keep changing depending on refs. My understanding about clinching that is legal, but a lot of fans can understandably complain about it, is this whole thing where you may grab with one arm but punch with the free arm. And I mean, this is something that Andre Ward was a master at back in the day. And okay, Ward's one of those guys who people they hate if you. A lot of fans hate if you praise him. I mean, he was very skilled on the inside, but comparing him to one of my favorite fighters ever, Roberto Duran, I mean, he clinched way more than Duran ever did, and I mean, there were times I remember. I think Mikkel Kessler was maybe the worst victim of this, where Ward would grab you with both arms, and then suddenly he'd start punching, and Kessler was understandably free. He was pausing, saying, "Wait, isn't the fight supposed to stop? You just grabbed me with both arms." And guys like Sean Porter, guys like Duran, guys like Julio Chavez Sr., very good at clinching maybe with one arm and punching with the free arm, which is legal. Then we get into inside fighting where there's a lot of low blows, etc. Because you have referees, some that will let you fight on the inside and others that won't. Sometimes they'll start breaking you immediately with clinch as soon as there's any clinch. I mean, Floyd Mayweather against Ricky Hatton. There actually weren't a lot of occasions where they would clinch, where both guys would start grabbing each other. It was just as soon as Hatton would get remotely close to Floyd, the referee was breaking them up, not allowing Hatton to fight on the inside at all. But there are other refs that as soon as you clinch, they'll, like Kenny Bayless with Benavidez, Caleb Plant, they'll let you clinch the entire time and they'll warn the guy who's being clinched. It's ridiculous. So
and you know what? That's why there's a conversation that needs to happen about the clinching, because like you said, well, if you're holding with both arms, it's way more apparent that one guy's holding, right? But if you're holding the other guy's arm, that's the dirty trick, right? You hold the arm on the opposite side of the ref so he can see and you're punching with the other. And then it gets even dirtier with guys like, you remember, I don't know if anyone remembers this fight, but it was Castillo versus Lascano. And Castillo was holding, Roy Jones pointed it out, Castillo's they're both holding each other's arm and they're trying to twist it inside, thus creating an injury. So there's a lot of dirty fighting that goes on in the inside, and it's difficult to decipher or to ascertain. And that's why you need a competent referee who knows the rules and who can detect the clinching and the cheating that's going on the inside. But it seems that like a lot of these guys, they don't even know the rules. And that's the other thing. Look, listen, when it comes to clinching, it's horrible. It in a lot of cases it ruins the fight, dilutes the entertainment level. But I can also concede that there's a gray area. For example, if a guy gets hurt and he immediately goes for a clinch, I don't think a guy should get a point deducted for that, because the survival instinct is so strong and the adrenaline spikes that are you going to hold the fight and deduct a point from a guy, and therefore by doing that, you're preventing the other guy from following up with an attack that could end the fight. So that's a gray area that I concede, but that's why it's important to have a discussion. This whole thing of, well, it's part of boxing and it happened, that doesn't help the situation. You want to improve boxing, we got to have a conversation and sort this out.
Then make it clear. You're allowed to clinch sometimes and sometimes not. Like, just write it down. Make it clear. It's not clear.
What? Sorry,
and
you can't.
But can I say something real quick? Yeah, that's why Kenny Bayless in that video that I talked to you about. By the way, the other referee was Bird. What's his name? Something Bird, who's married to Adelaide Bird, by the way. Yeah.
Robert Bird.
Robert Bird, thank you. Yeah, Robert Bird, who's married to Adelaide Bird, one of the worst judges ever. So just keep that in mind. Anyway, he says something about, Bailey says something about excessive clinching in that video. And I'm thinking, well, okay, but what Caleb Plant, let's ask a question. Was Caleb Plant excessively clinching against Benavidez? Because if not, then how do you define excessive clinching? I would like to hear an answer, but you never hear that discussion anywhere.
Well, I just felt like I was almost talking to Kenny Bayless there, because it's like, of course he was. I mean, as soon as, he didn't clinch like 15 times around, but they would clinch, but they're getting into an exchange. Benavidez was hurting Plant, and Plant immediately was just grabbing and with both arms. Bayless didn't do a damn thing about it, so he thought, well, okay, this is easy. It's the only reason Caleb Plant survived the fight. So it was, I'm trying to think of other examples. One example which I think Bayless actually did a very good job, and he was criticized for being a hometown referee, and we know how fans are. They're very reactionary, but Tyson Fury against Deontay Wilder too. There were fans outraged when Bayless took that point from Tyson Fury in, I think it was the 5th round for clinching. And it was actually a very justified point deduction, because Tyson Fury was, he was thrashing Wilder in that fight. But part of his game, and he didn't need to do this to win, but part of his game anyway was to grab Wilder with both arms and push him back and, bully him and really make it rough. I mean, he was turning this into wrestling at some points. So Bayless was very justified taking that point away. And that was because again, that was blatantly illegal clinching. I mean, there were occasions when I know Lennox Lewis was warned for he was warned a lot of times during his career. I mean, I forget the name of the referee escapes me, but during the Mike Tyson fight, he was warned very early on, and I mean that referee was basically on Tyson's payroll because yes, there were times when Lewis was doing what many tall fighters would do, grab it with both arms and lean on their opponent. But there were also times when they were just getting into one-on-one exchanges. And Tyson, we know, liked to punch in the clinch at times. And Lewis was getting warned for it. So there were some times where the referee was good in that fight, warning Lewis for, the Kronk style grab and hold. But there were other times when he was way too excessive. And I mean, this is just, I'm trying to think of different examples here, but Tommy Hearns against Dennis Andreas. Tommy Hearns was one of those fights where he dropped him like 6 or 7 or 8 times, and, it was very impressive. But there was also a lot of clinching in that fight where Hearns, he looked at times like Vladimir Klitschko, but at the same time, Andreas was fighting like Sean Porter or Duran, coming in with his head and getting right into Hearns' face, so you couldn't blame Hearns for wanting to clinch. And I mean, I'm just watching Errol Spence before I go on this call. Errol Spence against Sean Porter, and Porter was super rough in that fight. And there were times when Spence was grabbing him, but you couldn't blame him one bit for it. So it's, I mean,
it depends on the situation. Warp
yeah.
Speed is saying, "Glad we are having this conversation, amigos." He says, "One is offensive, the other defensive. One is illegal, the other is legal, but enforcement is key."
That's shout out to Warp Speed for that contribution. I really appreciate it, and it's true. It's you can't you can't establish what is and what isn't legal or illegal if you're not having the conversation. And that's the other problem with a lot of these judges and officials, referees included, is that they don't want to have that conversation. The judges run out of the arena, or if you manage to catch them and ask them for their justification for a bad decision, you'll have to talk to my supervisor. Remember, like that judge from Joshua Usyk too. So they don't want to explain themselves, and you wonder why. Is it incompetence, or is it because they're trying to hide corruption as well? Who knows, right? In terms of the Fury versus Wilder fights, particularly the second and third ones, there's a lot of clinching in that. And Fury is a clincher, but I guess what? So was Wilder in that. So in a way, I can end on top of that. Clinching also sort of morphs into a different thing when it's two heavyweights, because especially with today's heavyweights, they're so voluminous. These guys are behemoths. They punch at the same time they fall into a clinch. Kenny Bayless in the second fight between Fury and Wilder allowed the clinches, and I forget who the ref was in the rubber match, but he too allowed them to clinch. So there seems to be some sort of some leeway in heavyweight fighting, particularly when it's two guys who are willing to clinch, which is, I could understand. You got two options. Either you enforce the rules across the board or you don't enforce them. Case in point. And this, we have to go way back to different times. When Henry Armstrong defended his title against Fritz Zivik, and that's when he lost that title. Henry Armstrong was known as a dirty fighter, and Zivik was known as one of the dirtiest fighters of all time, or he went on to be one of the dirtiest fighters of all time. The referee was seeing what was going on.
Talking about?
What was that?
When you say one of the dirtiest fighters of all time, you're talking about Armstrong?
There's Zivik too. But what I'm saying is, Zivik apparently was a little bit flummoxed about the dirty fighting. He didn't really want to fight dirty. Finally, the referee told him during the fight, "Hey, you guys want to fight this way? Go ahead." And that's when Zivik stepped it up and really started making it dirty too. So that's the thing. Enforce the rules across the board, or let both guys make it a dirty, sloppy fight. But you can't warn one guy and hold one guy responsible and prevent the other guy and allow the other guy to do whatever he wants, because then it's an unfair fight. And guess what? I don't like unfair fights. I mean, if it's a mismatch because one guy is much better than the other, then hey, it's a mismatch, but it is what it is. That's the nature of the boxing. But when it's because of an outside party's involvement, like a referee or a judge or whatever, then that sort of changes things.
Yeah, it's
all right.
I mean,
guys, you know what?
that's.
So let's move on because I think we're spending too much time on this topic. And by the way,
I don't think we're spending enough time on it, but whatever.
yeah, we can do a whole show on this, but we need to continue with this the wish list. So, do you guys, BDA? Let's go with you. Do you have a wish?
Did you switch to a different audio thing? Because I hear you lower now.
Yeah, because I'm gonna.
Yeah, it's quite fuzzy.
Open up the. You know what? I was gonna open up the phone lines, but I guess not. My sound is all shitty. I'm gonna go back to.
All right. Which wish list? I guess we already. I guess you can surmise that enforcement of the rules is one thing that I'd go for. You know, it's interesting in the lightweight division right now. We can't realistically make a wish because there's already three main guys or three fights that are already going to be taking place that are going to prevent the guys we want to see to fight each other. So Zepeda, Shakur Stevenson, that's a fight that's been announced. Okay, that's a good fight. But if you want to see, like, for example, Shakur Stevenson versus Tank Davis or whatever, that's not going to happen because Shakur Stevenson, like I said, he's going to be fighting Zepeda. So those guys are locked in for June or July. Tank Davis, apparently, he's going to be rematching Lamont Roach for June. That's what they're working on. And then you got Keyshawn Davis taking on De Los Santos also this summer. So those six guys, we already got those fights there. So I can't really make a wish.
All right.
Yeah,
so
Tank Davis
we have a wish here. John Gonzalez says, hey, BDA dummy, one of mine would be back to 15 rounds. I hate draws. I'm down for 15 rounds, man. Like, we would.
Yeah, especially when these guys only fight. You know, these guys only fight twice per year. So make it 15 rounds. Make them fight at least 30 rounds per year.
Yeah.
BDA, you just actually reminded me that would be another wish list of mine. And this is a very strong wish list. Fighters have to at least fight twice a year. And if you can't for whatever reason, there has to be some kind of enforcement as to get fighters to stay active. Like if you have something like you're injured, family tragedy, or some real life event that gets in the way. Understandably, of course, you can't fight, but fighters can't be able to sit out just because they want to.
Or they drop out of that. So to be more strict with a boxer's activity, like if a boxer doesn't fight often, then he's removed from the rankings.
That would definitely be. Yeah,
that's never gonna happen. But that would be great. That would be great.
Hey, by the way, this is all
wishful thinking.
By the way, this isn't a boxing wish. This isn't a boxing wish, but can you write that down? Can you wish that John Gonzalez runs out of AIDS medication? And by the way, I'm kidding. He doesn't have AIDS. No one has got AIDS, and I don't want to hear that word here again.
Okay.
We're calling this a wish list because you can because we're wishing on it. These are things we wish on a star for.
Mm-hmm.
So you talked about the lightweight division. BDA are we talking about matches we want to see?
Sorry, what was the question? Sorry, because
you brought up the lightweight division. Are we talking about fights that we want to see in each division?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like I'm not comfortable making a wish for, because we already know in this summer that we already got something set. So
same.
Yeah. Go ahead. Well, I was just going to say with the lightweight division, I've been on multiple shows the last few weeks. I strongly think we're going to be in a situation where the champions don't fight each other for probably a year or 18 months because Tank's got unfinished business with Roach. We'll see if he comes through that. Keyshawn is going to be built into a star because Top Rank needs stars. Shakur, I mean, Lord knows what's going on with him. Zepeda, and that looks like it's gone over the line, thankfully. But yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing these champions fight each other just based on circumstances, and God knows what's going on with Lomachenko when he's going to fight. So yeah, we might be just based on circumstances. The lightweight division could be maybe on pause for a little bit.
The Hand History Vault is saying might as well add same day weigh-ins. Do you guys want that to be back? That would change the whole boxing landscape.
You know what? I would definitely be in favor of that. Again, we're talking about a bit of a fantasy here, but I definitely, yeah, after again being a fan for like 15 or so years, it would eliminate these all these weigh-in dramas, and yes, the sport would change overnight drastically, and it would all be a little bit, with fighters not cutting weight, it would all be a little strange and a bit weird, but it would be for the better.
Darth Vader saying 15 round non-title fights, 20 round championship fights. Gee, this guy wants he wants to see somebody die in the ring.
No. Yeah, 20 rounds. That's way too much. I mean, I will say this. Speaking, just because it was a different guy who brought it up, but fighters not same day weigh-in, so fighters not cutting weight. Fighters would be able to do more because they wouldn't be killing their bodies to make weight. So they would be able to do more, but still 20 rounds. That's a little bit too much.
Hard Rico with a super chat. Really appreciate it. He says, one wish is to force young, hungry lions like Haney, Tank Shakur to fight each other or strip them of their email belts. Yep, that's true. So I guess what you're saying is be more strict with the I don't know, the sanctioning bodies. I mean, they already have their own rules. I don't even know how they work.
Here's a wish, man. Here's a wish. Take away Twitter from a lot of these fighters. Take away their phones. Take block Twitter. Do it like a Chinese style, government style, where you blog. I don't want to hear it from these fucking idiots on Twitter anymore. These guys are scared of me. No, you're scared of me. No, you're scared of me. And then the accusations of racism. Everyone's racist. Everyone's a Nazi. Everyone's a commie. People just throw out insults all over the place. Twitter really has become a cesspool.
I mean, it's been a cesspool, I think, since it started. It's just the only difference now is that it's bigger than it's ever been. But yeah, no, that is by far one of the worst things about the sport. You can have fighters turn down fights, and then they'll accuse the opposite fighter of turning them down. But the solution to that is just don't pay attention to Twitter.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's why I go there to see if there's any breaking news in terms of boxing. But for every good user on Twitter, there's 5, 6, 7 people who are just spouting nonsense. And I've had, I used to be on, I've said it ad nauseum before that. I used to be on the message boards for 20 something years talking boxing before I discovered the YouTube community. And I really dislike having to, you're going back and forth with somebody, you got to type, and then you got to wait for them to reply, and then you reply again. This type of medium, I find, is much more suitable for boxing discussion. Whereas Twitter, it's still old school. It's still, you got to type, and then you got to wait for the other guy to reply. And then usually if they're very generous with the rhetoric and the fallacies, then you're running in circles around them, and it's not, it doesn't work. So you're right, man. Just walk away from. I go there for about 15 minutes and then I leave.
All right, we have.
Yeah, and I'm on. Oh, sorry.
No, King KO says should have one official ring size. A sides can't change the ring size. What do you guys think? The ring size, is that a big issue?
That's interesting.
I mean, we see it sometimes. Yeah.
Well, easy. Okay, we definitely need to eliminate the small rings. And when I say small, I'm going to have to get the exact measurements in front of me. But the small rings. It's. I mean, again, if I had to make a choice, the small rings, it limits fighters too much. Now, these big, massive rings that allow you to basically do a marathon, like what Sugar Ray Leonard ordered when he fought, or requested and got when he fought Marvin Hagler, or actually the Klitschko's, they fought in massive rings. Now they were big heavyweights, but still massive rings for these guys. Definitely no need for them. So I guess come to like the middle. Find a middle ground. Like there's some. This is not something I'm so fluid in. I don't remember off the top of my head the ring sizes, but there's a middle size which I think would be the most ideal one.
All right.
The ring size, it can be weaponized, and as such, like I said, could create an advantage for one guy, and I dare say unfair one. But then again, that also requires an understanding and a conversation to get to that understanding. How do you like what's an acceptable ring size? Because it's true, everyone, you have to play up to everyone's strengths. And if a guy's a mover, then you also don't want the ring to be too small. But at the same time, you know what I mean? So there is a discussion. That's a sensible one, but it does require more discussion. One thing I'd like to see is, first of all, these fighters decrease their pay, and then make it add the addition of bonuses. Hey, if you win by knockout, if you really try to go get the fight, a certain amount in bonus, certain financial reward. If you knock out a guy, for example, I think you were the one that told me that, Butcher, that if you knock out a guy in within the last 4 rounds or something, the bonus increases. So that makes it so guys are actually, there's an incentive there. They become incentivized to actually try harder. And also, I want these guys to stop wearing the color or trunks of their choosing. Because it's becoming annoying, man. You guys fucking guys will have this weird.
Like the UFC?
Yes, here's what I want. Absolutely. Take away, and take away sponsorships too. I want this decreased pay, take away sponsorships, put them all in gray or gray or white shorts so that you decrease also the visual input and stimuli from that. Because I think people are overstimulated. They're always fighting in the crowds. People are always fighting. They get all boozed up. I want this to become more like what's it called? The WEF style, man. And WEF, that the world, what's it called there? The conspiracy theories always talking about that. I want people to become automatons.
So you want the referee to wear a jumpsuit?
I want him to have a taser gun. So if guys get out of hand a little bit, hey, come on, step it up.
That sounds great.
BDA, you are we joking here or?
All right, hold on. Okay, let's continue here with the wish list. People are asking if I didn't see the Kovalev fight. Did you guys see the Kovalev fight?
Yeah.
I haven't. I don't really have much interest in seeing Kovalev.
All right, so who saw the Kovalev fight then? Okay, BDA, you saw the Kovalev. What happened?
Yeah. Well, nothing. I mean, he busted the guy up, had him bleeding, dropped him early, and then dropped him again. I will forget which part of the fight, and then that's it. It was over. And I think they were saying that it was going to be his last fight. Something tells me, I mean, what I know from boxers is that professional boxers is that as they get older and they know the finish is near, and then they get a good performance and they start thinking, maybe I shouldn't retire. I still get a little left, and I know these are my last years, so why not make something happen before the end finally arrives? So maybe, hopefully that doesn't happen for Kovalev, but then again, if it does happen, that's the other thing. You know what? Wishlist, maybe add a different league for older fighters. Fighters above 40. No, it's true, because remember when Roy Jones and Tyson were going to fight? Why not? Let those guys fight. But don't put Tyson against Jake Paul, because then it becomes a circus that it became.
Yeah, Ronald Jackson in the chat says, with a super chat, appreciate that. He says, I want Mayweather, delete it.
Come on, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
I'm not adding that shit.
I assume.
In fact, I didn't see that comment, by the way. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
People are giving it thumbs up. You guys are disgusting.
Absolutely disgusting.
I think
shout out to him for the contribution.
I think he's talking about he wants the Mayweather method of staying undefeated. He doesn't like what Mayweather brought to the sport. I assume that. I mean, Mayweather. I guess I'll just say it to this guy. And look, Mayweather. He did do a lot of things that weren't great for the sport, but he's far from alone. There's plenty of fighters before him, superstars alike, have done damage to the sport in similar ways to he did. So it's not all down to Floyd.
No, absolutely. By the way, guys, this is a special show, Boxing Wish List. We're going to write down what you want, your wishes for boxing.
Hey, jump in.
Jump in. The link. I'm going to post the link. Guys, hit the like button. Hit the like. And don't forget to subscribe. Check out our Patreon. Check out everything. Links in the description. All right. Let's continue.
That's a wish list, right? That's a wish. Add that wish in the list. More people jump in. Give us their wish list.
Actually, you know what? I mean, people hit the like button. That's not my wish list. My wish. People.
I see this. I see the list in front of us saying, "Force young, hungry lions to fight." Well, there's definitely a lot more that could be done to try and get these fighters to fight each other when they're both young and there's both a lot of risk. You would need to bring a lot more. I mean, in order to get these fights made, at the ideal times, these young, hungry lions to fight each other, there would need to be a lot more structure to the sport, because fighters, one of the reasons they don't want to take those kind of risks early on is because you're not getting paid well as a young fighter. Whereas if you do get paid well, then you would take more risks. And then we get into the whole Mayweather method, preserving your O and how valuable that is. And as soon as you lose, you're seen as a lot worse. And there's we're asking. I'm trying to think of how to not ramble on forever, but we're asking to literally change the dynamic of the entire sport.
Well, that's vision. That right there. That's vision. But yeah, I mean, this is a wish list. We can wish whatever you fucking want. Don't be shy, guys. Anything is possible if you put your mind.
Hey, by the way, it just reminded me of that then. Production values and increasing production values from these networks, because somebody was talking about that they should allow you to take away the commentary from when you're watching, with an application that's very doable, that's quite feasible. An option where you take away the commentary. Now, of course, some people that's dangerous too for the commentators, because if they're looking at the algorithms, the bosses, they're looking at the algorithms or the numbers, whatever, and they say, hey, 50,000 people disable the commentary. The consensus seems to be they don't want commentary. Let's get rid of them, save ourselves some money. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know how they would work that in, but I want to say something about the production values. But Butch, I see we got super chat.
Yeah, but we're gonna get into that, the production value. Rapa's Trucking Company, thank you for your super chat. Really appreciate it. Always supporting the show. He says, I wish that Trump administration would look into the WBC and ban them from doing business in America. That's a great idea. Also, the administration should look into the robberies and judging. I mean, they should get Doge into it.
That's right.
I mean, Doge should.
Doge, yeah, they should look into it. And I'm not averse to them locking away some of these WBC people. I know they're Mexicans, but they send them to El Salvador anyway, man. They deserve it. All the things they've done.
Ooh.
I mean, listen.
Oh man, they should ban all of this.
Whole Russia thing. Oh, no Russians. Why? Well, because Russia. They should. Now, I wanted to say this about the production values. Again, Jimmy and I did a show about the old HBO days, the rise and fall of HBO. This was a couple of months ago, and one of the things it reminded us, going back to the oldies, was the production value of HBO, that they said, and they were clear in their intent, they wanted to do pay-per-view level fights on premium cable. And that's what it looked like when just look at Chavez Taylor. I know it's kind of dated, obviously, the visual effects and all that, but if you watch somebody put it on YouTube, I believe, a whole telecast, HBO telecast for the Melgy Taylor Chavez fight, that wasn't on pay-per-view, but it felt like it. They did a lot of talking. They had their best tuxedos on. It was just a lot of pomp and circumstance. Now, I mentioned this before, I was rewatching Haney versus Ryan Garcia, that is. No pomp and circumstance. Yeah, these guys are wearing clothes like as if they're about to go clubbing. They're wearing sneakers. Their hair is all disheveled. They're not even standing properly with good posture, so they look like they're half drunks, or they're on something. I don't know. The music, before even PBC, at least they were adding some gritty music or loud drums, like tribal drums. Like, you're about to see two warriors get it on or whatever. Now they have this 8-bit music, like you're playing a Genesis game or something. Well, that's 16-bit, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, like
this simple synth with some
like you're playing Sega Genesis.
Yeah, and like you're playing Tetris.
Up next,
and you're what is this?
Yeah, they show the fight card, like the fights that are coming up, and this shitty music. Make it epic, memorable. My fucking god!
Is that too much? Yes.
Yeah.
Jesus.
This is something which a lot of people they have a problem with Turkey Al-Sheikh about is these cards in Riyadh. They just don't have the atmosphere that you guys are talking about. And yeah, that's not just down to Turkey. It's kind of a thing with just really not just the sport. I mean, you BDA, you talk, or the guy in the chat who put that super chat in, he talked about the Trump administration. We're talking about politics as well. The world in general is just getting a lot more dull, and things are losing their drama. But Yeah, I didn't think about Haney versus Garcia not having atmosphere, but I mean, if we're going to bring more characters to the sport, it's which is what you guys are talking about. That would need to be a bit of a universal thing where where the people who are putting the fights together would need to come into agreement and say, look, we've got this fight on. We need to use the character of the fighters and really make this dramatic with the music and the atmosphere and the lighting, and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, this is something Bob Arum used to talk about, and he blamed the PBC side for not wanting to do it. And yeah, that's a very interesting discussion because you got to talk to the powers that be and say, hey, this is what you got to put your money towards.
Yeah, Pancho Villa in the chat says that the HBO commentators were biased. You know what? Sometimes it would depend on which commentator. For example, HBO, Jim Lampley, if you watch the De La Hoya-Whitaker fight, for some reason was really into De La Hoya, whereas Merchant and Roy Jones were sort of fighting back a little bit. So in the heyday of HBO, or at least the heyday of the Lampley-Merchant dynamic, plus, an expert commentator, sometimes it would be George Foreman, Roy Jones, whatever, there would be some disagreement. So that didn't really bother me. There's always going to, these guys are human. There's always going to be some bias. But at least limit the amount of bias. In HBO, I didn't see them being as overly biased, and so therefore acceptable. But yeah, man, I mean, these guys in the production value, they really gotta amp it up. And again, it's not that I'm not saying that it's a make or break deal for me. Like, they're not putting anything into it in the production value, so therefore I'm not gonna buy the pay-per-views. At the end of the day, I'm watching it for the fights. But it's just a little pet peeve of ours.
Yeah, I mean, the commentary has gone down so badly. I mean, HBO for me was just completely untouchable. I mean, Showtime was. I really did enjoy Showtime with Ronaldo and Al Bernstein and Paulie Malignaggi, but the earlier crew with Ferdy Pacheco and get the Albert brothers didn't like them at all. But yeah, HBO. Aside from how biased they were, I mean, yeah, of course they were biased, but those guys, I mean, HBO made it sounds corny to say, but it's so true. They made events more dramatic just by being on commentary. They made events so much better just by commentating naturally. Like, they were such naturals at it. I mean, you've got jokers like Chris Mannix commentating for DAZN, and I mean Tony Bellew. I mean, that guy's just air cancer. These guys are just so terrible to listen to. And I mean, Lennox Lewis is when I was rewatching Spence versus Porter on the commentary, this guy sounded like he was at a cocktail party. Like, I don't know what it is, but maybe it's just down from the entire culture. But commentary in general is just so dull.
Lennox Lewis was really bad. There's a reason why HBO refused to renew their contract with him, because. And the rumor was that he wanted to stay on, and they just told him, "Nah, you know what, man, this ain't for you." And look, he's an Olympic gold medalist, undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. I've never done that, and I don't think I ever could. But at the same time, not for nothing, but we speak better than the guy. A little bit more engaging with what we do. He just couldn't do it. And you know what? There's something out there for everybody. Not everybody's good at any one thing or multiple things. And that was with him. I'm pretty sure he tried. I'm pretty sure he worked on it, or at least I hope he did. But he just never got it. And after HBO, I do remember he went over to, I don't know if it was Sky Sports, or he had some position where it required him to talk. And then eventually he snuck his way back into commentating live, ringside. He just doesn't work. Remember that the old meme was that he would always say, definitely needs to throw more punches. He would always say, definitely needs to do this. Definitely needs to do that. It's like, wow, that's a classic expert commentator right there.
HBO was brilliant with Merchant and Lampley and Max Kellerman, Roy Jones and George Foreman, but Lennox Lewis and Emmanuel Stewart was really good as well. But Lennox Lewis, he just didn't have it.
All right,
I just want to remind people to. Yeah. Well, I want to remind people, jump on and give us your thoughts on the list, man, because I mean that's the whole point of the show. You jump in, you give us your boxing wish list or things you want in the boxing wish list.
In the chat, we're also constantly reading the chat, so we're gonna get your stuff in here. And the Hand History Vault says, wishes, no weight draining opponents and no bringing opponents up or down in weight if their last fight wasn't at said weight. Coughing. Tank Davis, he says. Yeah, Tank Davis, exactly. He's
Wait
a
a
perfect
minute.
example of that shit. So yeah, and
Wait a
no
minute.
rehydration clauses. None of that bullshit. That should be illegal.
Yes, this
Yeah.
yes, this guy he just reminded me of another one major wish list of mine. I used to be okay with catch weights for non-title fights. Ban it all. Catch weights, rehydration clauses, just ban everything. Complete red line, completely illegal. And what this guy just mentioned about weight class jumping, you cannot. I know this is going to rub people the wrong way, but this goes for the greatest fighters of all time as well. You can't get a title shot in a division in your first fight in said division. You have to fight at least once, just once.
All right. What else do we have here? King KO says Showtime was good when they had Gus Johnson and Antonio Tarver. Antonio Tarver was pretty good. Actually, he was really good, I have to say. What else?
Yeah, and Gus Johnson had a very very good voice for commentating.
Mm-hmm. Earl Stevens says wishes make it common to do cross promotional fights. Yeah, make it common to do cross. I mean, I think we're starting to see that a little bit more now that we have a lot of these promotional companies in the same network, in the zone, and with the participation of Turkey, it's making it easier for these promotional companies to do cross promotional fights, whatever you fucking call it. But yeah, that's a good one. What?
Hey, Butchu.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I don't know if more people are gonna jump on, I think maybe we should open up the phone lines and we'll still hear, even though it might be a little bit more fuzzy, but fuzzier, we'll hear you anyway. Just Fight Sports, like if you're still, just increase the volume from if it's not already 100% from Butchu, just increase it because it's gonna lower once he opens up the phone lines. In terms of the wish list here, if we're talking specific fights, I'd really like to see Teofimo Lopez get a big fight. I mean, I know he's fighting in a big event against Barboza, but this is a guy that's two-time undisputed, and yet he hasn't gotten a Tank Davis. What's the biggest name he's gotten was Josh Taylor. Then again, that fight was in New York, and Josh Taylor isn't a big name this side of the Atlantic. So, it was a good fight, big fight for us boxing fans. But in terms of, again, if you want some atmosphere or something, it just didn't feel like it. But if you were to fight another American, hey, now we're talking. So a big fight for Teofimo Lopez. Now, I'm not saying he necessarily deserves it based on his attitude, but hey, this is about boxing. He's the undisputed junior welterweight champion. Give him, why haven't any of these so-called big names, whether it's the lightweights or junior welterweights, been willing to step in there with him? And I know there's going to be some controversy about, well, Matias wanted to fight him or this guy wanted to fight him. I'm talking Tank Davis, I'm talking Shakur Stevenson, Haney.
Yeah, well, I've been on these panels with a lot of and we're cool, but a lot of Tank Davis fans, and I mean, it kind of gets a bit redundant to just say, look, whether it's down to Tank or his team or whoever, he's not doing these cross promotional fights with these other champions, so it is what it is. I think Bob Arum was partly to blame, or actually no, a big part to blame for why Teo hasn't had big fights since he beat Josh Taylor. But then again, I've heard some things about how Teo is also quite difficult to work with. I mean, we even got to the point where Turki Al-Sheikh is posting out of nowhere on Twitter, "Hey, stop hanging out." Like, he was just hanging out with Dana White. He's saying, "Stop messing around, get back in the gym." Like, there's maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I think Teo is maybe getting under Turkey's skin. So it's a mixed bag when it comes to Teo. I mean, he's had his moments, and the great moments are great, but the bad moments are really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he was kidding with that comment of go back to the gym, because I've never known Teofimo Lopez to. I mean, he might be overlooking fighters, but in terms of training, mentally overlooking them. But in terms of training, like, somebody could say, "Oh, he wasn't prepared for Kambosos." But if he wasn't physically fit for Kambosos, I don't think he would have gone 12 rounds against him. He was actually coming on strong in the last couple of rounds, and then Kambosos, just by sheer will manage to get up from that, rise from that knockdown. I think what was it, 10th round, 11th round, and actually ended the fight strong too. So Teofimo Lopez is quite fit. I don't think he messes around with training, but yeah, it's possible that maybe mentally he's already thinking. But I don't know why he would think he's got in the back against Barboza, because I think I'm picking Lopez to beat Barboza, although I'm not confidently, but I give him the edge. But he's not an idiot in that way when it comes to boxing. He must know that this is a difficult fight for him. So I don't know why he would be overlooking this fight.
Yeah.
Then again, he's Teofimo Lopez, so who knows?
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't know what's going on in this guy's head. I mean, I'm picking him to beat Barboza. He should beat Barboza. I mean, he is the more talented fighter, but it's just you don't know with this guy, because he's all over the place psychologically. And I mean, when things go wrong, and this. Listen, I think the world of Vasyl Lomachenko, and I mean, I'm a tremendous fan of him, but I was a huge fan of Lopez when he beat Lomachenko. But the guy just, so I don't like saying this, but it's true. When things don't go his way, he never takes responsibility, and that's just not a good sign in general. So I don't know with him. I mean, he's got a lot to prove in this division, and if he's serious about going up to welterweight, then good for him. But I said this, and I got a lot of flack from people for saying this. I don't think Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Lopez, I don't care how good they look when they have that event in Times Square. None of them beat Jaron Ennis, because size matters. So I don't want to talk about. I mean, if they need to move up to welterweight because they're all huge for their divisions, good for them. But I don't want to really talk about them moving up to welterweight and fighting Jaron Ennis. I want to talk about them fighting Alberto Puello and Gary Antoine Russell and all these other top guys, William Hitchens. I want to talk about those fights.
Yeah, I mean, what's more competitive? Ennis against people his own size at 154, or Ennis against guys coming up from lightweight? Because that's pretty much what these guys are, the lightweights.
All right, guys, let's take a phone call here.
Exactly.
Let's take a phone call here. We have 442. You're on the air, 442.
Hey, how's it going? Good.
Hey, what's up, man? What's on your mind?
Oh, yeah, I'm just calling about the whole the Teofimo Lopez situation.
What's happening with Teofimo Lopez?
Oh, well, I could understand, how he'd be upset with this whole situation. But in the Barboza fight, man, he's going to have it tough.
I think it's the closest fight of the night, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Garcia's going to tear up Romero. Who else is fighting that day?
Haney against Jose Ramirez.
What, I actually think that's going to be the closest fight.
You think Ramirez has it still?
You know what? He doesn't. The whole thing is a Haney,
You're right.
How's Haney going to look? Yeah. How's Haney going to look? Ramirez really doesn't have speed, to keep up with Haney. But he has that punch output, And let's see what Haney could do, I think more than likely Haney's going to win that. But I think Ramirez is going to give him problems.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot. I mean, Haney's coming off that destruction against Garcia. So you're right. Both of them have to show something. We don't know what's going to happen. That's a good point.
And then the whole issue about the rehydration, because he's been rehydrating real heavy.
Who?
So let's see what happens here. Haney. When he fought, what's this guy's name? The guy from the south, from the southern United States.
Regis Prograis.
Yes, there you go, Regis Prograis. Yeah, when he fought Prograis. I thought Prograis was going to get him, there's no way Haney's going to beat Prograis. But then, you could just tell he had that real big size advantage.
Yeah.
And I was like, man,
I thought it was going to be a different
the
fight,
way he was, hurting Prograis, Prograis been in there with some decent punchers, and he took him a lot better. It seemed like Haney's punches were doing more damage to Prograis than what Josh Taylor was doing to Prograis.
Yeah, you're right. All right.
That was real. I didn't expect that. I did not expect Haney to do that. So let's see what happens with Ramirez, because, man.
What about, so what's your prediction for, who's going to win those three fights? Give me your predictions for all three fights.
Man, with Barbosa and Lopez, Lopez, Haney and Ramirez, Haney.
Yep.
And, man, Garcia's just going to tear this guy up, man. Romero's just going to get torn up. That old guy, he should have never beat that guy, man. That wasn't a TKO. You know, that's like the strangest TKO I've ever seen. You know, the referee jumps in, the guy's throwing punches, he's not even hurt. They just gave that world title to Romero, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then Cruz just came and just destroyed him, you know?
Yep. All right. Well, there you have it. Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. Oh, who's fighting this weekend?
There's really nothing. Nothing.
Ben Whittaker's fighting.
Who?
Well,
Ben Whittaker's fighting Liam Cameron.
Some British fight. Nah.
Yeah, but I'm not too crazy about those DAZN British cards, man. I try to watch them, but I just can't. You know, the competition level. You know.
All right.
It's just the whole But all right, guys, that's my 2 cents. Have a great day.
Take care. See ya.
Yeah, you too, man. You too, take care. Yeah, the first Whittaker fight was the first Whittaker Cameron fight was good. I mean, Whittaker leapt out of the ring. A lot of people thought he quit, and that was kind of a satisfying fight to watch because the guy's been doing so much clowning in the ring to inferior opponents, and when he finally fought somebody that he couldn't have his way with, it's kind of satisfying seeing him basically jump out of the ring. Who knows what's going to happen in the rematch, though? So that's why I'm curious to watch it. I think it's a good. Is that on DAZN or is that another network?
No, that's going to be on Sky Sports. He's promoted by Ben Shalom, Ben Shalom's just started doing some work with DAZN, but mostly he's still on Sky. Yeah, I just the guy mentioned, he asked who's fighting, so I just brought up that fight. But yeah, I'm from New Zealand, so I have to. So every fight is an international fight for me.
That's true. I have the schedule that I posted on the BDA community section. So today we have the DAZN card. And then tomorrow as well from the UK. And then another DAZN card in the USA. So there's 3 DAZN cards.
Well, it's because the other thing is there's women's fighting. Fundora's sisters fighting.
Right.
Which, so I might as well not be an event. The only thing is Charles Conwell is fighting on that card, and you might remember people that we did a 154-pound show, or a show detailing the 154-pound division rather a couple of months ago, and we were looking at the top 10 guys in there, and Charles Conwell. Not a lot of people had most people didn't have a lot to say about the guy because they haven't seen him that much. And now. I go on Twitter and people are saying he's the dark horse of the division, which he very well may be. So it is an interesting fight to look forward to tomorrow. See if he can impress and maybe start creating. That's the way it is in boxing. There's a certain privilege in being the dark horse, the guy that's overlooked. The guy that only hardcore boxing, and boxing hipsters too. They like that too. They can say, "Hey, I was on that Conwell train since day one," and it's bullshit. But whatever, you know what I mean. So interesting fight tomorrow.
By the way.
Yeah.
The hand history evolved with an interesting comment. He says Ramirez is over 680, so 6.8 underdog. If you believers are so confident, go lay money on it. That's true. I mean, that's very good odds. 6.8, almost a 7-1 underdog.
Yeah.
Go.
Well, I was just going to say. I mean, my thoughts on that fight. My thoughts on the Haney Ramirez fight are the same as when it was announced. Like Ramirez, and I'm going to do a video breaking this down, but Ramirez really doesn't have much for Haney. I mean, technically he's flat-footed. He telegraphs his shots. He doesn't set things up very well. He leads with the right hand when he shouldn't, and he does a lot of other things which Haney really should be able to pick him apart easily. But the question is going to be, how much did that it's not technically a loss, but that beating he took from Ryan Garcia, how much is that going to affect him? So we'll see.
Exactly. That's what we're talking about, the phone with the caller. Very interesting fight. Let's see what else people are saying here. Paracua, yeah, what?
No, I read the comments and I gotta.
Paracua says UFC grifter don't know nada. Okay. By the way, guys, don't forget to call in. Phone lines are open. Call in.
I was gonna say, in terms of the boxing wish list, tournaments. They're great. You know how Trump said tariffs. I love that word, tariffs. That's what I love for boxing. Tournaments. Another word with a T. Tournaments. Make it. Listen, if you ask most people, hey, what was your favorite memory of 2018 or one of your favorite memories? People will say, hey, man, that cruiserweight tournament was pretty darn good from the WBSS or SSB. I forget the order, but yeah, the World Super Series of Boxing, whatever it was called. That was a great tournament. And then the following year, you had the bantamweight one. That was pretty good too. Then, of course, there was a super middleweight version and the cruiserweight version. The second cruiserweight version, those weren't as good, but tournaments make the world go around. And, of course, the problem is always, how do you unite fighters from different promotional entities into one tournament to agreeing that, hey, listen, for the next year and a half, you're going to be tied in with a tournament. And that's a problem. But if there's anyone that can make that happen, it's the Sheik. He's got the money, he's got the wherewithal, he's got the infrastructure to make it happen. And don't tell me. I mean, listen. You like a division with like the featherweight division. Mm-hmm. That should be doable. I mean, those guys aren't expecting $15 million like some of these spoiled lightweights are, or welterweights or whatever. Throw them a couple of bucks and tell them, hey, at the end of the day, we got an undisputed featherweight champion. And I say featherweight because it's a loaded division, perhaps the best division in boxing. I said perhaps the best. And like I said, you don't have to pay them. They're not going to demand millions, I don't think. So make some tournaments happen.
What's this WBC Grand Prix that I was seeing? People were mentioning also in the chat. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that was going on today. I don't know what that's about.
I think we should know what the hell that's about. Yeah, it's not the zone. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think that's just Mauricio Suleiman loving the sound of his own voice, like just inserting himself into conversations where he doesn't belong. I mean, what you said, BDA, about you loving the tournaments like Trump loves his tariffs. I mean, yeah, if done correctly, these tournaments are great. Simply because you're getting the best guys fighting each other. And I mean, Andre Ward winning that Super 6 tournament. I mean, brilliant. It was just tournament was absolutely beautiful for boxing, and that is one thing that the Sauerlands have done extremely well. I mean, they put together the Super Series repeatedly. So yeah, we could get those tournaments going, especially what you said, for the real stacked divisions like featherweight. Great. And, if you could just find out what these guys make, match it repeatedly for each fight, then beautiful. That would be another wish list for boxing.
All right.
Absolutely. Yeah, make those fights happen. It gives us some order and it gives us some continuity too. But I mean, like I said, it's been difficult to do in the past. But if they manage to do it without the Sheik, now imagine how easy it could be with the Sheik. I think maybe they're just waiting to sort of settle into these Riyadh season events more before they actually jump into that type of venture. Because again, it's complicated. You got to get all these fighters from different promotional entities into agreement. The fighters have to agree. There has to be some upside, financial upside as well. And then that's the other thing is tournaments seldom go the way they're planned. There's always someone that's going to be injured. Someone's going to drop out, especially these fighters who are unaccustomed to fighting more than twice a year. They get an ouchie. All of a sudden, they can't continue in the tournament. So you got to have replacements. It's a whole thing. It's a whole. There's a lot of logistics involved. But like I said, if anybody can make it happen, I'm confident the Sheik can.
I have a question for everyone. When it comes to the boxing wish list, more Jake Paul or less Jake Paul? If you guys haven't heard, Jake Paul's fighting Chavez Jr. in June the 28th, I believe. So more or less Jake Paul? What do you guys think? Wish list.
I'm going to quote something that one of the guys who donated via super chat earlier said, talking about deleting Floyd Mayweather. If I could delete Jake Paul's,
come on.
No, just hear me out here. If I could delete Jake Paul's digital identity, meaning I never have to see him on the internet again, I'll be very happy.
All right. So
well, first of all, that's a form of
what?
Go ahead.
That man, you're advocating for digital harm towards somebody. But go ahead.
That is violence.
Well, not really.
Digital
I'm just
violence.
saying
it is. It's digital assault.
Cyber.
Well, I mean, bullying.
It's cyber assault. Yeah.
Cyber sexual assault. All right.
Yeah, but this is this
Taking it too
this
far.
is the internet. We always get assaulted.
Yeah, it's
That
true.
was just a
That's
that was just a way of me saying the less Jake Paul, the better for me.
I mean, you know what? In all seriousness, I'm indifferent towards Jake Paul. I mean, people say, "Oh, well, he's harming boxing." I don't see how, but it also applies to the same thing we're talking about Twitter. If you don't like Jake Paul, same as Twitter, don't watch it. You know what I mean? It's nobody. Jake Paul isn't forcing his way into boxing fans' throats. People feel that. Some people feel that way because he's in my sport. First of all, it's not your sport. It's a collective thing. Jake Paul has as much a right as anybody as boxing, and if he's got the fan base, he has got the money to promote these events and create big events out of it. Hey, more power to him. Do I enjoy his events? No. Do I watch him? No. The Tyson fight? You have to admit there was some form of appeal because there was that thing in the back of your mind. Well, what if Tyson has something left? And of course, pretty much 3 rounds into the fight, you knew no. This guy was in a wheelchair not that long before the fight, smoking weed all the time, frying his brain on what God knows what other type of drugs, bad knees, possibly a bad pelvis. I mean, he's in the locker room showing his ass to everybody like a demented old man who's no longer aware of his faculties or his surroundings. It was sad to see, man. They took a guy who's possibly not only physically impaired but possibly mentally impaired as well, and they're putting him in the ring there.
No, I hate it.
I mean, that was sad. But I mean, so in a way you could say, yeah, that was bad for boxing. However, in the grand scheme of things, the question is, would you wish for more Jake Paul or less Jake Paul? I'm indifferent.
I remember, guys, he's fighting Chavez Jr. in the undercard. We have Gilberto Ramirez against Dorticos from Cuba, and apparently Dorticos is like the number. He's a mandatory for the WBA belt. I didn't even know that. So it's a mandatory fight in the undercard. I mean, that's a high quality fight. I mean, Ramirez is a unified cruiserweight champion, so he's getting exposure by fighting in this undercard. Is that good for boxing? Oh, that's good for him.
Well, he's getting okay. My channel's it's Fight Sport Talk, so I cover MMA as well. I'm going to quote something that that was said about Brock Lesnar potentially being a Hall of Fame fighter, because though those who don't know, the UFC, when it brought Brock Lesnar, and I mean Brock Lesnar skyrocketed the UFC despite only having like 5 or 6 fights. And there were legit questions about whether Brock Lesnar should have been in the Hall of Fame. And I want to quote something that somebody said about this, and he's a future Hall of Fame fighter himself. He said, if Brad Pitt was brought over to the UFC, he would lose every single fight, but he would draw more than any fighter in history should Brad Pitt be in the Hall of Fame. So to bring that to Jake Paul, he brings attention, he brings a lot of money, etc. But it's not for the it's not for the reasons, or it's not for the sporting reasons. It's because combat sports is a shit show. It's because you can turn it into WWE, unfortunately. So I don't want to really talk about this too much because I've gone on about it in the past, and hence why I've never done a single video about Jake Paul. But I'm not going to say you brought up a great point, BDA. You know, it's not. Of course, I did. Your sport, so fans can't. Yeah. Of course, I know. I'm preaching. Of course, I'm stating the obvious here. But you said that fans can't really complain about him assaulting the sport because it's whose sport is it? Great point. But it's people talk about boxing being a sport. Technically, it's WWE entertainment, except it's not scripted. But you can bring this kind of thing in, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, a shit show upon shit shows, and it's accepted because it's like, well, it technically fits into the category. So it's something I just don't like personally. I'll just leave it like that.
Well, talk about Wishlist, because, the UFC, they had a bit of an attack one day that they considered an affront to their sport when they had a professional wrestler, they get a big fight in there. And the thing that I'm saying here for boxing is, if you say, oh, I want less Jake Paul or more Jake Paul, one of the things he's involved in is women's boxing. And that's my wish list. Less women's boxing. They're all over the place now. In fact, I go as far as to venture, start finding women for trying to box. If they said they want to, make it like in the old days where boxing was illegal and they had to fight in meatpacking districts or, at the shore. That's what I want to see women's boxing. I want it to be relegated to them being fined and possibly incarcerated for breaking the law of fighting.
Very good, very good.
Well,
do you think,
I've never been a fan of women's boxing, and the fans a lot of fans who are passionate about women's boxing, they're very passionate about it. It's just something that doesn't really need to exist, and there's no harm in it. It's just not very good, and there's nothing wrong with saying that. But if you like women's boxing, great, but definitely take it away from men's sports. Like make the two exclusive. Definitely.
So you're saying like don't mix women's boxing with men's boxing, like having them in the same cards?
Yeah,
I agree with you.
Yeah, again, if I could just just for those who don't know, women's MMA for a long time, it was only promoted by one promotion, and the promotion definitely did not make money. It was called Invicta. And when the UFC got invested in women's MMA, everything changed. The sport was a lot better when women's MMA was kept separate from men's MMA. So definitely do the same in boxing. Like when it was when Gennady Golovkin fought Vanes Martirosyan, there was I forget which one it was. It may have been Amanda Serrano, but there was some women's event on the women's fight on the card, and I mean nobody watched the card anyway because Canelo Alvarez dropped out. But it was just, I mean, out of all of the fights that you could try and bring exposure to, this is what HBO put their foot down on. It was just ridiculous. So yeah, I just don't watch women's MMA. But I'm with you, BDA. If we could get rid of it or put it in.
Well, listen, I was half kidding about it. Like with the Jake Paul thing, it's not my thing. I just choose not to watch it. I mean, listen, boxing is a tough sport, and anybody that gets in there, whether it's a male or female, and they work hard at it, they deserve a tip of the hat. I choose not to watch it. That's just my thing. And I can't even, I'm an introspective person, but I haven't really put the thought into it to flesh out why I'm just not into it. I just know that I'm not into it. However, if we're talking about a wish list, here's a fight for you. Yeah. Clarissa Shields versus a man. I'd be willing to see that.
Oh my
She's always talking about how she could beat Keith Thurman, Triple G. Fine, let's make it happen.
I just don't listen to Clarissa Shields because she's air cancer. I mean, I don't want to sacrifice my eardrums to that person. So I mean, I was gonna call her a black hole because a black hole will take away light and energy from things. But there's a bit of a controversy right now on Twitter, so I'm pretty sure people are gonna say, that's racist. You're calling her a black hole, not hole. And even then, they'll still deem that racist. So I'm not even gonna touch that one.
So Clarissa Shields.
Now let's move on from Clarissa Shields.
All right. Any other in the chat as well, guys? You can participate. You can call in. The numbers on your screen. I'm posting in the chat. You can also join the panel. The link is in the chat, and don't forget to hit that like. Yes. What?
Norman Louis in the chat says Clarissa Shields looks like Apollo Creed.
Oh my God.
I've always said that Clarissa Shields looks like Floyd Mayweather with a wig on.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Look, I mean, look, Butcher, you got Photoshop skills. Do that one day, and you'll see the resemblance is uncanny. You'll actually be amazed. You'll start wondering, man, what else does BDA know? What other genius observations does he have? And I got a bunch. Just try that one first.
By the way, we only have 49 likes. That is disgusting. It's embarrassing. I'm gonna end the show, guys. What the fuck is this? 49 likes. Let's get it up to 65. Come on, 65. You guys can do it.
All right, now see,
you guys have not hit the like button. You should be ashamed of yourselves.
See now, people. You see what you guys started? King Chaos says Clarissa Shields looks like Goro from Mortal Kombat. Kane Mac says Clarissa looks like Mr. T. I mean, come on, this is unacceptable, man. I mean, I don't know what you guys started, but there it is.
All right, let's continue with the list.
Unnecessary, but this is the kind of stuff you get into, unfortunately.
That's right.
You guys you should be ashamed of yourselves.
I denounce it, by the way, but nobody listens to me.
What else?
Hey, by the way, okay, big fights that we want to see, because again, I think most of them have been said. But how about Pam Rodriguez versus Nakatani? And I know technically it's not realistic because they just announced Nakatani is going to be fighting another Japanese dude who's actually got a pretty good record. But a big fight for Bam Rodriguez, man. I mean, either him against the winner of Ioka Martinez, which is coming up, or a big fight, man. Because I'm tired of Martinez fighting these 35-year-old guys.
That's a great fight.
I couldn't agree more. It's with Bam. I mean, you see a guy who's going to be he's going to be like a superstar among superstars and probably save Eddie Hearn's career. But we just need to see these fights. And yeah, Martinez. I mean, who is Martinez fighting? Like, I'm a little bit behind this one, but does Martinez have a fight against somebody like scheduled?
Yeah, he's rematching Ioka.
Oh right, that's it. Yeah. Well, which is why I mean I want Bam to stay at the 115-pound division before like this talk of him fighting Nakatani, great. But they're already talking about Nakatani fighting Inoue next year, and once Inoue does, I mean Inoue is going to beat Cadena, excuse me. So the only interesting fight left for him is Muradjan Akhmadaliev, which is going to be later this year in Japan, assumably. And Akhmadaliev, I'm not going to pick him to win, but he does have a pretty good chance. That's going to be a tough fight. And then they're looking at Nakatani, which will be, I mean, that could be Inoue's signature victory. So I definitely don't think talking about Bam Rodriguez fighting or moving up to 118 pounds is necessary. Like, let's just get him against these other champions. I mean, yeah, hopefully do Martinez. Although David Jimenez is there as the interim champion, and so that's probably going to get in the way. Do him against Cafu. We'll see. I mean, Eddie Hearn. I'll have to look at one of his recent interviews, but yeah, there's lots of good fights for Bam Rodriguez at 115, so he doesn't need to move up and fight Nakatani yet. All right,
so yeah, he should. I mean, there's some good fights, but that Nakatani fight, everybody's talking about it. So maybe if there's money involved, why not move up? By the way, we have a phone call. We're gonna get to it. We have an interesting comment here from Josh, who says, "I think out of the Tank Davis versus Lamont fight, the rematch, and out of Zepeda versus Shakur, Kishon versus De Los Santos, and Jake Paul versus Chavez, there will be at least one upset. So out of those 4 fights, he says there might be. Those are good odds. Out of 4 fights, hey, why not? One upset. Which one will it be?" Interesting comment. Brian says, thank you for your super chat. Really appreciate it. He says, "Are you guys going to re-upload Boxing Most Shocking Moments 2021, 22, 23 on Patreon in the future?" Yes, of course. You read our minds. No, yeah, that's the plan. We're going to re-upload it on Patreon. Just haven't had any time, but we might do it. It shouldn't take that long. So we will re-upload the Boxing Most Shocking Moments from 2021 to 2023. And right now, we're going to take a phone call here. 267, you're on the air.
Hello, guys. Listen, I just jumped in not too long ago, so sorry if I repeat anything, but what I just heard you guys were saying, I thought the Puma Martinez and the Kazuto Ioka fight was completely off, because they were originally scheduled to have that rematch like last December, and I think Puma pulled out because he wasn't able. He's been struggling with the weight. So, and then I thought they were going off in a different direction, and then Bam was going to wait to see when he's going to fight the winner or somebody. So that rematch is back on?
Yeah, according to the ESPN schedule, yeah.
Okay. Well, that should be a good fight, because that was, what Mr. BA was saying earlier about like seeing more like tournaments, and I mean, that's the same thing I agree to, because I think that, I guess it depends on what you want. Some boxing fans, they just want to see like the biggest names fight each other, whereas like fans like me, there's a division that has 4 champions. I want to see unifications. I want to see undisputed champions. Especially when there's 4 champions and it's like an actual campaign to rack up all 4 belts, like, politically, and you're not picking who to fight. The 3 belt holders, those are the guys you're going to fight if you want to be undisputed. And like the featherweight division right now, and the bantamweight division have had 4 champions for quite a while now, and those belts have, the featherweight division, especially those belts, all 4 of those belts have turned over within like the last 2 years, I guess now. Like they've each turned over, and there's not a single fight. And then whenever, sometimes it seems like, you know, I heard something about Stephen Fulton, so he just got the BC belt. And then someone was saying something, I don't know if it's true or not, but he was looking to make a fight with someone at like 130 at junior lightweight. I don't know why.
That is true. He's going to be fighting. That is true. Sorry to interrupt, but that is true.
And like it, yeah, you know, and it's kind of, it's like, it's for fans like me, it's annoying because it's like, okay, if you're looking for an easier fight because you don't like your chances against the other champions, then you need to give up that belt. Because if you hold a belt in a division, you shouldn't be looking to make fights with fighters in other divisions. That doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. Like all this nonsense of like, okay, I just want a belt here, but I'm going to go up there and go after this dude. And it's like, well, vacate the belt then. Give it up and let it stay in the rotation within the division. This weight jumping just to make big fights, I get it. And like Turkey's kind of guilty of doing that more than I think. I mean, there's like the people that are in the cult of Turkey that drank the Kool-Aid. They'll never say anything bad about him. I mean, I'm thankful because he gave us Fury Usyk and Bivol Beterbiev. But, then, instead of trying to force, like in the cruiserweight division, finishing up a full unification, he sees a good fight, and then he's like, oh, I want to see Opetaya jump up and fight this guy. It's like all this weight jumping doesn't make sense when there's so many exciting fights that could happen within the division.
Mm-hmm. Well, he has the money, and unfortunately, I mean, he's the one making the decisions. But you're right. Some, fighters should try to stay in.
Yeah, I mean,
it's getting out of control now. Anything else?
No, that's it. I just want to see more unifications. I want to see more fights within the division, and like a bantamweight, 115, 118, and 126 there's just so much that could happen in those divisions.
Explosive divisions. All right, caller, thank you for calling. Call back again next time. Take care.
Thanks. Yeah.
All right, let's take another phone call, guys. 210. We're going to go with 210. You're on the air, 210.
Hey, it's Southpaw.
Hey, what's up, man? What's on your mind?
No, I agree with the other caller. He said all this weight jumping for fighters, for fights that we don't want to see, when there's fights that are in divisions that make sense and have been making sense for years is a kind of a cancer to the sport. Y'all agree?
Yeah.
Definitely. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, I mean, that's like Canelo. He's been ducking Benavidez for 3 years. That's been the fight everybody wanted, but he gave us Ryder, 154 Charlo, Munguia, Berlanga. Now we're getting Skull. And then at the end, at his retirement fight, we're getting 168 Crawford, which is crazy. So, Canelo ducked Benavidez. Turkey's throwing out money. I like Turkey, but I agree with the caller. Like, this is like, there's some bad things going on. We're like, we used to have passing of the torch fights with Oscar beating old Chavez. Even though we know Chavez would have beat his ass in his prime, Oscar would never beat Chavez in his prime, but, he got him right. He got Whitaker out of his prime. He got, who else? Camacho, a lot of these guys. Then Pacquiao and Mayweather got Oscar out of his prime. These were torch-passing fights. But Mayweather set this blueprint where I don't want to set the fights. When Mayweather was on his way out, he had fighters that wanted that mantle, but he didn't want to give him the shot. And if you're a fan of Canelo, you better be a fan of Mayweather because they're one and the same. Same game plan, same mentality. I don't want to give these young guys a shot, even though Canelo got his shot versus old Cotto, old Mosley, old, like, everybody. He aged out Triple G for 3 years, and he got a gift decision twice. Like, one was the draw, one was the win, even though he lost both. But then he got him at 40. That was another cherry pick. So I agree, man. This is like, they got to stop throwing money at these fighters so they can, like, get their little retirement runs. Because if we don't get these bridge fights that, bolster the next guy up, we're not going to have stars. Y'all agree?
Well, I think stars don't need to really... passing of the torch is something that can happen, but not necessarily. I think fighters should focus on actually.
It's always happened. It's always happened
No,
until Mayweather, and then Canelo picked it up. Mayweather and Canelo, the two that really don't want to do it no more.
No, it's not.
Look through
always
history.
happening. I think we need to also focus on these boxers and how they run their careers. I mean, if you're just sitting around looking for a torch fight, passing of the torch fight, then you're ruining your career. You should focus on.
Well, that's the name of the game. You call out the biggest fish, and if the biggest fish says, "No, I'm too big," you bring nothing but 20 pounds. I don't want to fight a Mexican. I pick and choose who I want. I earn the right.
So,
nobody can touch my resume. Then what does that mean? We're giving in to pick and choose, bro. It's not good for the sport.
I was saying that fighters should focus on building their own careers. You know, I mean, like you can't.
But how can you build your own career if the guy at the top doesn't give you your shot? Benavidez was that guy for Canelo for 3 years, and he's given us fights that nobody wants.
My God!
So it's never going to progress to the next guy because this guy's being a princess.
For example, let's say Benavidez, right? Even before there was all these talks about a Canelo fight, this guy's record wasn't even that impressive. So he wasn't really building up his career. He wasn't looking for unification.
Okay, that doesn't matter. If nobody gives you a shot,
saying,
you're not gonna have it.
I'm saying, you can try your best to get the best fights. Just because he didn't get one fight. I mean, like there's some exaggeration here. I think what I'm trying to say is
but let's shift it to another fighter. Let's shift it to a fighter that y'all aren't crazy about. And with Crawford, when Crawford was trying to get Spence fans were saying the same shit y'all are saying. It's like, oh, no, he ain't fought nobody. He got no resume. He ain't fought nobody. Well, yeah, because Spence wasn't giving them the fight. The PBC guys were avoiding him. So it's the same shit with Benavidez and Canelo. Like,
no, it's not.
We got to have the passing of the torch.
Canelo
is guilty and he's ducked. He ducked Benavidez, plain and simple.
Can I say something? Because you keep interrupting me. It's not the same thing. Calm down. It's not the same thing. Yeah, you're comparing Shakur with Crawford.
It's the same exact thing.
Okay, well, can I finish? Crawford, he was with Top Rank, and you had this other welterweights with the PBC. When it came to Benavidez, I mean, he could have fought Caleb Plant a long time ago. They were both with the PBC. That fight never happened, right? So you can't say it's not the same thing. You keep saying just because you.
Well, I mean, how much of that was on Caleb? Because Caleb was waiting for the golden ticket too.
How much was it on Benavidez? How much? I mean, they're both with the PBC.
But Caleb was holding that belt because he knew that, hey, I can get a shot at the golden ticket.
Benavidez decided to re-sign with the PBC, knowing that he's.
Dude, I know you love Canelo. I get it.
Okay, can I?
But it's all in the same, bro. It's all in the same.
Okay, let me finish. Please, let me finish. You're getting emotional. Benavidez decided to re-sign with the
Don't
PBC.
take my line, bro. I said that.
No, I mean, it's not your line. Benavidez re-signed with the PBC when you and I agree that he wasn't getting the.
It don't matter. Now you're playing that's the side of the street argument. Now you're using the side of the street argument. Is that valid? No, it's not.
Can I finish? So
who cares who he signed
to? Can I finish?
Let him finish. Let him finish.
Okay, side of the street. Go for it.
Let me finish. Gee, but you said Crawford. You compared to Crawford. Anyways, Benavidez re-signs with the PBC.
Exactly.
God,
perfect example because fans were saying
let me just interject, Southpaw. Let me just interject, Southpaw. We can't talk about Canelo with you because you get overly emotional. And yes, you're getting overly emotional because.
Well, no, I mean I know y'all love Canelo. I'm just saying, but like
you keep. Hold on. We listen, Southpaw again. We may hate Canelo, we may love him, we may dislike him, we may just like him. But that doesn't change the fact that you get overly emotional when it comes to Canelo because you keep interrupting and you keep
overly emotional. No, it's just I like to just point it out because it's like a dagger to the Canelo fanboys. That's the only thing. That's why I like to make it a punctuation.
Can I finish my point?
I could interject. Southpaw.
Yeah, go for it. Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
And keep saying.
Hold on. But you can't say. Hold on. So fight sport. Hold on. You can't say go for it, and then 2 seconds later you start interrupting again. Yeah. You gotta calm down.
But at least you
understand.
I'm saying
go. Okay, I'm listening. My bad. Go.
That you have to listen.
Yeah, no. I'm just Southpaw. This is Fight Sport Talk. You can follow my channel. I've been Canelo's biggest critic for how he's ducked Benavidez, but we need to move on from it. Okay, he's not the only fighter to avoid a certain fight. Plenty of great fighters have done it in the past. In fact, every great fighter has avoided a fight. So signaling, especially when Canelo's moved on and we need to move on, you can't keep bringing up the past.
And that's Fight Sports Talk. You bring up a good point. Fight Sports Talk brings up a good point because It all started with criticizing the Sheik, and then it turned to the Sheik is somehow prevented Canelo Benavidez. I mean, Benavidez. Listen, however you may feel about Canelo, you may like him, you may dislike him, you may love him, you may hate him. There was a lot of fuckery going on from the Benavidez.
I like Canelo. I respect Canelo.
They ended up moving up in weight.
I spent money going to Canelo fight.
Benavidez says he doesn't want that fight. Benavidez says he doesn't want. Benavidez says he doesn't want that fight. He's a light heavyweight now. I don't see how the Sheik is responsible for.
Oh my God.
Well, anyways,
bro, stop. BDA, you're breaking my heart, BDA. You're breaking my heart, BDA. I like you, bro. Real.
I really don't. Again, hold on. You keep bringing up, you guys love Canelo. I like you. You like me. I don't care if I like you.
You love Canelo.
We're stating the facts here, and all you can reply with is constant interruptions. Oh my God!
Who had all these
attacks? Who had all these attacks about who loves
for like the last 5 fights?
Southpaw, stop getting emotional over it. That's my advice to you.
Did you ask for Skull? Did you ask for Charlo? Did you ask for Munguia? Did you ask for Berlanga?
Stop getting emotional.
Did you ask for Ryder?
All right,
Stop getting emotional.
If I could interject,
no. What's his name again? Hold on. All right. So anyway, all I wanted to say was that boxers should try to build their careers by themselves. And it's not like he couldn't fight Plant. He could have fought Plant. He resigned with the PBC, even though we agreed that his career wasn't going his way with the PBC, and he still re-signed with the PBC. So, I mean, he has made some decisions.
It doesn't matter. Now you're talking about sides of the street argument, which is stupid.
It's not
like,
an argument.
Now we used to bash people for saying, "Oh, you're on the wrong promoter." Like it shouldn't matter. We saw Bob Arum put Tito Trinidad versus Oscar De La Hoya, both undefeated in their primes, together. They were in litigation together, suing each other. They still made the fight because it made sense. This has been the money fight.
No, it's not the money
fight.
Hey,
Bucho, can you add to the Bucho? Can you add to the wish list? Southpaw, stop getting emotional over Canelo.
Yeah,
you can add that to the wish list.
Y'all are projecting it because that's what I did at first. Because y'all get real defensive when I talk about Canelo because y'all are a Canelo channel. Y'all are a PB. Y'all are like LBBC. Y'all are the same way with Canelo. Like y'all gotta call it straight. I like you guys. I continue to like you guys. I always like you guys. But I'm that asshole friend that'll tell you that you got a booger in your nose.
How about you listen for a second?
No. What's this guy's name? New Zealand guy. Hold on. All right. Listen, we're going to move on. You can talk about Canelo on the Open Lines Friday. All right? Take care.
I mean, is that all he can talk about, by the way?
I mean, I think so.
Well,
He's a new Mirage. Go ahead.
Yeah.
He's a Texan Mirage,
I picked up my reputation when I started calling into people's shows like yours. I'm the one who picked up the reputation of being a Canelo hater because I talked about how he was ducking Benavidez. But the thing is that it's all in the past. Like we've got both guys are in different divisions. They both got different fights scheduled. Like Benavidez is forming his own legacy. So let's just move on from it. Like I literally don't have the energy to talk about this, but so many other people do, and it's like, well, I just thought I'd chime in and tell this guy to move on.
I don't want to be disrespectful, Fight Sports Talk. I don't want to be disrespectful, but I mean, you can clearly talk about boxing. It seems like other people can't. It's either talk about Canelo Benavidez or they just sit there with their eyes wide open and their mouth agape, just staring at the wall.
I mean, somebody called in before saying that he wanted boxers to stay in their division instead of always moving up and stuff like that. And then Canelo came up because of Southpaw. Like, okay.
By the way, in the comment section, Hurricane Hank says, "Dude is hurting." Knockout Ness says, "Mirage's boyfriend." Earl Stevens says, "Block his number." I mean, come on. I don't think we're gonna go that far.
I mean, this is the boxing debate arena. Anybody can come in and say whatever. You let the cat
out of the bag. I am the BDA. You did let the cat out of the bag. I am the #1 YouTube analyst on boxing. So let's just get that clear. But yeah.
By the way, like, what's your name? Like, how do I call you? Because your name is complicated here. MMA, FST. All right, FST.
Yeah, most people just call me Fight. Maybe I need to come up with a different nickname because when I started this channel, I thought Fight Sport Talk was pretty simple, but maybe I need to come up with a simpler one, and I'll change it. But yeah, just give me some time.
All right. Don Madrazos with a super chat. He says, He says, Southflow, Southflow, you need to stop, bro. Been sucking off Mirage. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. It's always you love Canelo. You
Well,
love
it's just-
Canelo. You love Canelo. It's like, all right. Anyways.
I mean, my thing.
Now let's
Yeah,
not talk
my
about. Okay,
thing
we're
with
gonna
these
go back.
guys-
We're not gonna go back to that. I'm tired of that shit. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
move on.
All right.
Let's continue with the. Oh, by the way, guys, hit the like if you're enjoying the show. Also, you can join us in the panel, limited panel, and also the phone lines are open. So call in. Let me check the phone lines. Now we have one phone call here. Shit. 612. You're on the air. 612. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up? What's the topic?
We're doing a boxing wish list. What do you want in boxing? What don't you want in boxing?
Shit.
It's a tough.
To be honest, I don't really think. Not too much is wrong with boxing. I really can't think of nothing, to be honest with you.
All right. Well, give us your thoughts on Shakur if you want. Shakur's fighting Zepeda. What else do we have, guys? Anything. What do you want to talk about?
We got De Los Santos, Keyshawn
Yeah.
Davis in the lightweight division. Tank Davis rematching Lamont Roach possibly this summer. So the summer lightweight super series, it seems like.
Yeah, I saw that Shakur and Zepeda finally agreed to fight. I think it said July 12th. I think
Was it? I don't know.
that fight's probably just going to be a blowout. I got Shakur winning that. That's going to be a blowout. It would be an upset if Zepeda wins. I don't see how he would. That's probably going to be a blowout. Pause. De Los Santos and Davis. I got Davis knocking him out. I'm going to say that fight's on June 7th, right?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
Okay, so
I
you
think
have
I
Tank
read.
winning.
I think
All
I
right.
read June 7th.
All right.
Yeah, I think Davis is going to win that. And who was the last one?
De Los
Keyshawn?
Santos versus Keyshawn Davis.
Yeah, De Los Santos, Keyshawn Davis.
That's what I was talking about. I think Keyshawn Davis is going to knock out De Los Santos. And then I think there's another fight. The Tank and Roach rematch. I think Tank going to come into this fight more motivated and focused, and he's going to go ahead and watch him.
Okay, so they're both winning.
Hey, I want to
All right, go
I
ahead.
want to ask y'all a question.
Yeah.
I was it's a gentleman named IBF. I was talking to him, and he we were talking about the best super. Who do you think is the best super middleweight of all time?
Oh boy.
I don't know. It's a young division.
I think
yeah.
Yeah, it's young. If we're talking about fighters who competed in the super middleweight division, I would say Roy Jones. If we're talking about guys who made super middleweight their entire career, I would say Calzaghe.
Andrew
All
Ward.
right,
Oh,
that sounded about
say Andrew
that
Ward,
sounded
but-
about right.
Okay, you know. Okay, I thought you were gonna yell at us because we didn't say Andrew Ward.
He's on that list. I say top 3, but that sounded about right. Roy Jones, Joe Calzaghe. I like Joe Calzaghe.
I mean, Andrew Ward did.
I
win
would
the
say,
World
yeah,
tournament.
Bernard Hopkins could be on there. Yeah,
Did he?
that sounded about right.
I think he skipped.
Well,
yeah.
Hopkins.
Skipped.
Yeah, Hopkins never fought at super middleweight.
No.
He did call. Hopkins did call out Kyle Froch, and Froch never took the fight. But yeah, that's the guy. The top 5 guys who fought there were Roy Jones and James Toney. Fought there for a bit, but they weren't there for very long.
Yeah.
And then you had Froch, you had Calzaghe, you had Kessler, and those guys.
I think at first it was Roy Jones. Then when Roy made that mistake when he came back down from heavyweight and he fucked his career up doing that, losing all that muscle. I think after that happened, I think Andre Ward kind of like came in and took over that. Him and Joe Calzaghe, because he aged out when Andre Ward started to like dominate the division. So I would say that.
Yeah, but Roy Jones
But
had light heavyweight. Well,
No, go ahead.
No, it's fine.
No, go ahead.
No, I said Roy Jones was at
I
light
thought you were
heavyweight.
saying something.
Roy Jones was at light heavyweight when he moved. Then he moved up to fight John Ruiz. Then he came back down and then lost to Tarver in that rematch. But
Because
yeah,
I would say Roy was the best of all time because middleweight, then you win the title from middleweight all the way to heavyweight. That's some unheard of type shit. Who does that? You know what I'm saying?
True. That's true.
So I would say that. But as far as people saying people ducking, I didn't hear him.
What's that, BDA?
I said no. I said you would have to go back to the days of Bob Fitzsimmons, who won the middleweight title and then the heavyweight title.
I'm not a historian. You gotta go back to the
Also,
black and white. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, modern. Let's say modern times. In modern times, Roy Jones Jr.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
No, I'm gonna let y'all go. Good looking out on the call.
All right. Take care. All right.
That brings up the question, man. Super middleweight is a relatively new division. Back in the days, it was like if you wanted, if you were welterweight and you couldn't make the limit anymore, guess what? There was no in between. You had to go to middleweight. And the same thing with the light heavyweight and middleweight. You can't make 160 anymore. Now you're fighting. There might be a 14-pound difference between you and your opponent. But now they created that super middleweight a couple of, but what was it, 20, 30 years ago, maybe a little bit more. And you created this safe haven for some guys. And I'm thinking, wouldn't it be interesting if we had right now, let's say you took away super middleweight, you'd have Benavidez would have been there a long time ago. Same with Canelo. They'd have to be competing with guys like Bivol and Beterbiev and Maurice, what was his name? Anyway, those type of guys. It'd be interesting. I don't know. Maybe that's the other thing where we're talking about get rid of the same day weigh-ins, get rid of this, that, make it old school. How about make it old school and get rid of so many weight divisions? Trim the fat.
Yeah. Oh, that could be a way. Yeah.
I was just going to say that that I believe the first title fight was actually was in 1988 between Sugar Ray Leonard and Donnie Lalonde, which was one of Sugar Ray Leonard's worst fights ever. Sorry to piss off the Sugar Ray Leonard fans, but it was a terrible fight. And then I don't know if there was ever a big name fighter at super middleweight because the biggest names were James Toney and Roy Jones, but like I said, they were only on. Like I said to the caller, they were only at super middleweight for a short time, and then you had guys like the first real super fight there was Toney and Jones. Then you had Calzaghe and Kessler, and then Ward was there for a bit, and he made it his division. And yeah, you would go probably Calzaghe, Ward, and then Canelo, and talking about greatest ever. But yeah, it is a bit of a strange division, and maybe one which, if weight divisions were eliminated, if a number of weight divisions were eliminated, you probably start with super middleweight.
Yeah, and the other thing about Calzaghe, just real quick, if we're talking about who's amongst Canelo, Ward, or Calzaghe, who are the best super middleweights? You got to also consider Calzaghe was already relatively old. He was 36, going on 37. When he beat Roy Jones, people say, "Oh, Roy Jones was old." Well, Calzaghe wasn't exactly a spring chicken either. Yeah,
and it was just the way that that fight looked like most Calzaghe fights. It was just a domination from start.
Yeah, but that was Roy Jones post 2 knockouts. You know what I mean? That was Roy Jones post 2 knockouts.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But see, that's the thing though. When people that whole thing, this was when Calzaghe fought Jeff Lacey. I can only imagine how that fight would, the craziness that would have gone on the white TVC if that fight were to happen today. Because some of what we saw back then was Lacey's going to run through Calzaghe. Calzaghe is a Eurobomb. See, people threw that term with more commonality than it is today, even though today it's still quite common. But back then it was worse. And listen, I thought Calzaghe was going to win, but I didn't think he was going to dominate the way he did. So he does deserve prop for that. And some people might discredit that win in hindsight because Lacey turned out to be a dud. But that wasn't what people were saying in the build-up to the fight.
Yeah, that was, I'll never, that fight happened when I was, I wasn't even a teenager yet. So I was a little bit before my time, but I learned over the years, of course, to do your research. That is the go-to example people say when they say, "Oh, this guy thinks you think this guy's a Eurobum and look what he did to your American hype job." And it's a funny one because almost pretty much nobody remembers Jeff Lacey as even a formidable champion. Whereas at the time they were saying, "Oh, this guy's gonna knock out this chinny Brit," and it was the complete opposite.
Yeah, I know, but
Calzaghe's career is
Jeff Lacey win. Sorry, my mic is too low, I think. I was just gonna say that Jeff Lacey win wasn't. It was big at the time, but in retrospect, it's not that impressive in my opinion. I mean, Jeff Lacey was like a Jermaine Taylor, a lesser version of Jermaine Taylor.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be. I'm actually going to have to go soon, guys. But when I start doing, I'm going to be doing lives on my channel soon. And one of the topics that I'd really like to get into is talking about the greatest fighters of all time. And Calzaghe, he's not, for a guy who went undefeated in his career, and not only went undefeated but really dominated everyone, and in 2 weight divisions. He's not really talked about that much, and I do think. Some of that's a little bit unfair, but I can understand. Everything. When you do look at things in hindsight, it's he is maybe the greatest super middleweight ever, but of all time, he doesn't have too much of a conversation to be, just because he's undefeated. He doesn't have too much of a case for being talked about in the greatest, I'd say, top 50 fighters of all time. That's true, because or at least top 30.
It's true. I mean, it's a difficult career to. Well, I mean, not difficult, but it's kind of tricky because you look at his career pre-Jeff Lacey. We're talking 2006. I think he beat Chris Eubank for the vacant title, I think. One of those, WBO, I think it was in 97. Chris Eubank came in at the last minute.
Yeah, and sorry, BDA, but he was also old. I mean, he had been dethroned by Steve.
Yeah, exactly. So he jumped
prime.
Yeah, he jumped at the chance at the last minute. Then Joe Calzaghe, I think he also beat Charles Brewer, who was a good American fighter, but he wasn't a pound for pounder or anything. He was a contender, mid contender who was a big puncher. I think he also beat Robin Reed, but that fight was close. And then every once in a while, he would just fight guys that you were thinking, who's he? Why is he fighting this guy? If you think some of today's guys are fighting nobodies and mismatches, blah, 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 this guy wasn't even fighting that. Well, he was fighting complete unknowns.
WBO champion?
Yeah, that's what he was, and that's what he kept defending overseas.
At that time, the WBO was like a European title.
Yeah, that's why some people magazines didn't really pay attention to all the titles, less so the WBO. And his career was very Bernard Hopkins-ish, meaning he did his best work late in his career. And that's why a lot of people didn't even think he was going to beat Lacey, because they thought he was really just an overrated guy that'd been feasting on low-level opposition. And then he really surged ahead. He beats Lacey. I thought Kessler was going to beat him. So when he defeated Kessler and did it clean, by the way,
that was a good win.
When he defeated Kessler clean without any excessive clinching or elbows or headbutting, as in hindsight, you go, wow, that's a good win. And then, of course, he beat Jones and Hopkins. And those guys were old, but you factor everything together, and he was quite a formidable fighter.
He was a good fighter. I mean, don't get me wrong. When I say that he was a WBO champion, I mean, that's the fact. At that time, he wasn't a major belt title. He was mostly a European title. I
don't know the exact politics about why he never unified prior to Lacey, because I know the other long-reigning champion that division was Van Otke, and he was over there in Germany locked away doing his thing, controversial decisions and all that. So
yeah, and back then
I don't even know.
For me, for example, it was difficult to really know much about what was happening with Calzaghe, because it was difficult to find his fights, and you could only read it on magazines and stuff like that. So, but
he would fight every once in a while on Showtime, but yeah.
Yeah, he was. I mean, Calzaghe definitely deserves. He deserves his flowers, because what he did do was he did look very impressive against top guys. I mean, Mikhail Kessler, that was one of the first super fights I got into, again, well after the fact, because I wasn't even a teenager when it happened. But the fact that going into that fight, Calzaghe was billed as the best in the division, and Kessler was seen as his number one contender, to me was ludicrous, because Kessler was the one who had actually fought more champions up to that point in far fewer fights. There were so many walkover jobs for Calzaghe, and it's actually an example when people talk about why they don't like that Turki Al-Sheikh is trying to make his belts. He's trying to throw sanctioning bodies under the bus and make his belt the most important belt. Calzaghe and Eubank Senior are the examples I go to when Frank Warren tried to build them both up as the best in the division, despite having the WBO title wasn't even that big at the time. And it's not going to work. Like the WBOs, these guys had to unify with other champions. They weren't able to get away with calling themselves the best in the division. So, yeah, Calzaghe's he's kind of a victim of. I mean, he did great, and I said before, like I've never done lives on my channel, but I've done lives on other people's. He is an example of what you should do as a fighter. You know, he got in, faculties intact, got out, made his money, and just went off into the sunset. But yeah, when it comes to discussing like the top 30 greatest fighters of all time, I say this with respect.
Well, you know what?
He's really there. But he was still
a lot of boxers. You know?
Real quick, shout out to Pugilist Zine for his contribution with the super chat. He says, shout out to Pugilist Zine for his contribution with the super chat. He says, winner of Shakur versus Zepeda should fight the winner of Keyshawn versus Murataya if Keyshawn and Murataya fight. Shout out to Pugilist Zine. Yeah, I don't think Keyshawn Davis and Murataya are going to be fighting anytime soon. Although you never know. Which brings me, shout out to Pugilist Zine, brings me to my last question, because we're asking boxing wish list. What do you want in boxing next? What's a fight? And hear me out here. What's a fight that you think could be made right now that would not only excite you, meaning on fight week, have you really itching to, oh man, I can't wait till Saturday gets here, but that would also be a big fight, a relatively big fight outside of boxing fans' circle? What's a fight that you
like transcend the sport?
You would want to happen that could fill those two benchmarks or check marks?
Butcho, do you want to go first?
Sorry, but is a fight that would transcend the sport? Is that what you're asking? A fight that would transcend the sport?
No, yeah, I distinctly said that would be a little bit big, because obviously we know there's not that many big fights that would transcend boxing. But like, I'll give you an example: Fury versus Wilder. It wasn't a mainstream fight per se, but it did sort of transcend boxing a little bit. It's the feeling that was in the YTBC prior to that on fight week. It was big. So what's a fight that could fulfill that right now?
I know my answer, but I'll wait my turn. Butcho, do you want to go first?
But just real quick. Remember, a fight that could transcend boxing a little bit, but that would also have you hyped up. Like, man, I can't wait till Saturday.
Ryan Garcia has to be involved in this. And somebody else. I don't know.
Well, I know my answer, and it's BDA. I like the way you asked the question. How is it a fight that could be made right now? And it would be Devin Haney against Teofimo Lopez for me. I mean, and it's doable. These guys are fighting on the same card. They are supposedly, I say supposedly because we've got to see how things pan out, supposedly going to be fighting in the future again if they can win their fights. So, I mean, why would that fight transcend the sport for me? Because they are leading. First of all, they've both got victories over the great Vasyl Lomachenko, so they've got their names out there. They've got their names out there for other reasons as well, and they are young, super talented. They hate each other. What's not to love about that? I mean, that fight would get me excited. Great fight, great talents. Beat between the dads. I mean, sign me up for that, please.
Well, yeah, you know what? You give me an idea. What about Ryan Garcia versus Teofimo Lopez? Two crazy guys, two guys that have lost it outside the ring, and then Teofimo Lopez, now going all racial, getting all racial. He's getting all this attention. So that's a great fight.
Yeah, those two.
Yeah,
those two that you guys mentioned, because again, there's no fight out there that you could say, man, that's other than anything involving Canelo and maybe Joshua. That would be mainstream. Everyone else, I mean, maybe Garcia, like you said, Ryan Garcia versus somebody else. But the thing is, and that's the thing, it's gonna sound crazy. I'm kind of rooting for Tank Davis in the Roach fight, even though I dislike Tank Davis as a person. For boxing, it would be better if he were to fight the winner of Zepeda versus
of course,
Shakur Stevenson.
Of course.
So I'm kind of rooting. I mean, I like Roach. He's not a big talker. He's a humble guy, and I was actually rooting for him in the first fight. But part of me is now thinking, man, we need a Tank Davis type level fighter, because I mean, we don't have that many guys that can transcend boxing. Yeah, I know he's not a mainstream guy yet, but he could be.
No, he could be. He always had the potential. He probably still has it, but at this point, I've given up on the guy. Like, I know he's not gonna fight these guys. And by the way, didn't Tank Davis say that he was gonna retire this year?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Is he still saying that? Yeah, go ahead.
He did. Yeah, he did say that. But Tank Davis says a lot of. I mean, I'm pretty sure he only said that for attention because he realized that nobody cared about his fight against Roach. So I don't think he was serious. I mean, he says a lot of stuff for shock value, and that was
Yeah, I don't
probably just
believe it
another
either.
attempt at it. I mean,
I just wonder if
Yeah.
he's still saying it though, because I mean, we know it's not true. I mean, how many boxers have said they're going to retire by the age of 30, and they end up fighting
Exactly.
by the age of 38? They're still fighting.
Yeah, we've seen it. Yeah, a million times.
Yeah.
You don't take these guys at their word. Yeah.
Oh, and I'm going to become a movie star or something. That also.
Yeah, they have some delusions of grandeur, man, right there. Yeah.
Well, actually, Tank Davis could become a movie star because the calmness and just how relaxed he was to say that he took a knee because grease got into his eye was very impressive. I was very impressed that he actually said that and then when he was surprised when the fans booed, he said, "Why are you all booing like I'm saying bullshit? This is facts." It's like you just.
It is impressive how he.
I can already.
It is
see
impressive.
I can already see it. Like he tries to become an actor, and then you hear on Entertainment Tonight how he tried to choke a co-star.
Come on.
During the filming. But go ahead.
What?
No,
what are you talking about? Choking. Did I miss something?
Forget it. Go ahead, VDA.
No, I was laughing. I didn't say anything.
Yeah. He won't become a movie star. But what were we talking about, man? Yeah, these boxers. Tank Davis. He's good for boxing. I mean, you gotta admit it. He's good for boxing. Controversial outside.
Yeah,
the
we
ring.
need more stars, man. We need more.
Stars. The thing is, he needs to take it to the next level and fight in these big fights.
That's right. You don't become a mainstream star if you're fighting people that even like you have to win over the boxing fans first, and then you transcend boxing. You can't. I mean, of course, there's an exception. That's Ryan Garcia, but he did it. He bypassed it because he got famous on Instagram before. I don't see Tank Davis doing that.
Well, Ryan Garcia got lucky. So
yeah, exactly.
That's all there is to it. I mean,
he's an anomaly. He's an anomaly.
I mean, I agree. If we could get Tank Davis against one of these guys, great news because he has been built into a star. Whether people want to admit it or not, he was built up. But again, I signal BDA when you asked the question. You talked about a fight that could be made realistically. I mean, they're with the same money guy. They were fighting on the same network, Teo and Devin Haney. So that's why I picked out that fight. But yeah, if we could get Tank against any one of them, if he's serious about the sport, then great.
Yeah, and maybe somebody. I mean, I like the fact that Dubois beat Joshua because we're talking about passing of the torch earlier. That whole thing. That actually sort of happened a little bit. I mean, even though he didn't beat the champ, which is Usyk, I mean, he did at least Dubois did at least beat the #1 star in British boxing, and so I think because he's a power puncher, because he's young, because he beat Joshua, I think he can carry the heavyweight division for the next couple of years. But of course, he has to keep winning, and
yes, good for I thought about that. You're right. He's young, especially for a heavyweight, and he can outlast all these other guys that are going to be retiring pretty soon. And he's not a bad boxer. Listen, I don't think we've ever questioned his boxing skills. We've questioned his mental strength.
Well, his skills too. I mean,
really, they're not that. I mean, they're not that bad. I think he did pretty good against Usyk.
Well, he didn't. He didn't do well against Usyk. Sorry, man.
Really, I think he did well. I mean, he got outboxed. I mean, he got outboxed, but he didn't look complete.
Yeah, how can you say he didn't do well if you? How can you say he didn't do well if you believe that the body shot was legit?
Well, yeah, that was a good.
It wasn't legit. The punch was low. It was a low blow.
It was no. You say it was a legit, or what was your point?
No, it was a legit low blow. Like it wasn't a body shot. The punch was low.
Okay.
I thought you were saying it was.
No, I thought. Hold on. I thought you were saying that he was. I thought FST. I thought you said that you thought that Usyk was faking it, and that it was a legit.
I don't know where you got that from. I've never said. I've been saying them from day one. The punch was low.
All right. So
you know what? It's because I've been I've been meditating, trying to induce schizophrenia. Maybe that's why. But go ahead.
Possible. No, I think. Listen, I knew he was. I knew Dubois. I think did okay. He got outboxed. I'm not saying he didn't get outboxed, but I was expecting this guy to. I mean, the only thing I didn't like was the ending. Like that's where I'm like, okay, this guy's mentally breaking down again because he just took a knee after getting hit with a jab. But other than that, I mean, his stance, he's on balance. you
Well,
know,
Butcher, just real quick, because I know we
Yeah.
got to go, but he almost got stopped by a southpaw. I forget the Lorena or something.
Ah.
And then what's his name? Hergovich was landing straight rights nonstop. The guy couldn't stop him. Dubois couldn't stop him. It's just he doesn't. I mean, I for some reason that's what's bizarre about it. The fact that he was able to outbox Joshua, that was bizarre. You're right. He's got good instincts. He's got talent, but in terms of skills, he's one of those guys that his physical talent combined with the skills that he does have, which they're not bad, but they're not great, is what I'm saying.
I think they're pretty good
No,
compared
they're
to
not
the rest
great.
of the heavyweight division. I mean, excluding the ones we know about, like they're really good, the top 3 to 2, whatever. He's better than the rest. I mean, somebody would have said, "Oh no, Hergovich beats him." No, he beat Hergovich. Well, a lot of people say, "Oh, this guy's the boogeyman of the division," right?
Mhm.
So he's up there. I mean, I don't know if he beats Cabayala or Cabayolo. What's his name again? Cabayala.
Wait a minute. So do you think that
Usyk-
do you think rematching Usyk is good, or do you think if he loses again, then that sort of negates what he did against Joshua? Like it kills his momentum.
I don't.
Well,
Well,
it
it depends on
doesn't
if he
negate
loses.
what he.
If he loses a decision to Usyk, I think it's fine. I don't think it destroys his career.
Hmm.
He can wait for Usyk to retire, for Fury to retire, and then he can take over.
He better not quit then.
Well,
Yeah,
that's what
I mean,
we,
if
that's what
he-
we were
if he
saying, guys.
takes-
Hold on. Before we say, yes, but that question apparently has been answered, no? In the last 3 fights,
Not against Usyk.
Really?
No,
Not
I,
against
I
Usyk.
strongly.
not against Usyk.
I disagree. Now, I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I disagree. Like, to me, I don't. I give Dubois credit for what he did against Joshua, but I still see personally. I see Dubois as a front runner. I still don't think Dubois is gonna. I still don't think Dubois got much heart when the going gets tough. I mean, he wasn't getting hurt by Usyk. He just quit because
Yeah.
because he was getting pinged around everywhere. Against Joshua, he had a guy who was very very tentative and glass chin, and Dubois was constantly ahead in the fight because Joshua was intimidated. As soon as he got hurt in that fight, which was in the first round, he was
Baby
scared.
Miller.
So
Baby
I'm
Miller.
not
Baby
questioning
Miller?
Dubois.
What about
Well,
the baby?
Miller was
Yeah.
garbage. Miller was garbage without
I don't know. It was a
without the
tough
drugs.
fight. He could have mentally broken down in that fight.
Well, he's got okay, but I'm just talking about Joshua. If we put things into context, Joshua was gun shy and always chinny and always extremely vulnerable. Miller was a basic plodding punching bag without the steroids. So I'm not saying Dubois is rubbish. I'm just talking about him as a fighter. Like to me, I don't think he would have won the Joshua fight if his power didn't scare Joshua as much as it did.
Well, that's
Which
what
is
it is. I mean, but
fine. Again, I'm just saying.
Yeah, if he didn't have power, but that's the same thing. I mean, if Joshua wasn't 6'6", I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, he has power.
Well,
And Hergovich,
I'm just talking.
that was a good win. You can't say Hergovich wasn't a good win. I mean, what can we say about that win?
Yeah, no,
No,
listen, I know it's bizarre to I understand that it's bizarre to criticize Dubois because he did just win 3 fights in a row, particularly 2 fights where he was the underdog. So again, people could say, well, how can you criticize him? It's like any other fighter. There's a lot of room for praise, and I do praise him for coming out. I mean, it's one of the best comebacks in boxing because he was considered a 2-time quitter. I mean, not considered. He was a 2-time quitter, considered rubbish, as you said, the British terminology. And yet, look at him now, returns 3 fights in a row. He's considered at worst, the second best heavyweight in the world. I mean, he's considered the
And
second best heavyweight in the world. The number one consensus is Usyk. But again, it's there's always that veneer, man. I mean, he's gonna fight Usyk. Usyk drains the fight out of you. I mean, that's undeniable now. After 2 fights against Joshua and 2 fights against Fury, bigger guys, and he stands in front of them. He doesn't back foot bitch it. And then on top of that, the Dubois. I remember when I saw the Dubois fight, I was thinking, man, Usyk kind of looks slower. I don't know. And then somebody told me that it might have been because it was raining profusely in Poland that night. Maybe the rain. I know they have a roof and everything, but I do remember seeing that it was, I don't know, maybe the ring was spongy or something, but Usyk looked a little slower with the feet.
Yeah, the ring. Yeah, Paulie Malignaggi actually brought this up that the ring was a little slippery. So I mean, I'll definitely call into your guys' show when the fight does get announced and we get closer to it. I don't want to see the fight. I'm a bit frustrated for Joseph Parker, not just because he's my countryman, but I do feel he's getting shafted here. But that's for another day. I'm going to head off, but I really appreciate you guys having me on, sort of as a third panelist. And
Well, hold on. What? You going to go?
it's,
I'm confused. Who said you could go, though?
Yeah, that's not how it works, man.
That's
All right.
that's
Well,
confusing.
anyways, take care, man. Thanks for being on the show.
if I could just plug my channel, Fight Sport Talk, cover MMA and boxing, and I'll be on again. Appreciate you guys, and you guys do a great job. Great show. Peace out.
All right.
Thank you,
Take
man.
care.
Shout
Check
out to
out his channel,
FSC.
guys.
Did he say he went? Did he say he went
Yeah.
to plug or peg his show?
Porque ese fue el pinche joto de Fight Sports, güey. Nomás llego y el vato se fue, güey.
No te quiere, güey.
Ah, come on, LT, que te cae mal o qué? ¿Te cae mal?
No, güey, me cae bien, güey. Nomás que siente como que le voy a dar carrillo o algo. Me imagino, ¿verdad? Me imagino.
All right. Let's
No,
get.
no sé, no sé.
What's up, JLT? It's been a long time, man.
I know, right, Bucho? Thank you for having me, bro. Ando bien aburrido, güey. Dije, fuck, let me swing by, güey. Where the fuck are my babes?
Did Black Chibi pay you? No, who had a bet with you? No, it wasn't.
It was, ¿cómo se llama este güey?
That was a while back.
Yeah, man, fucking Black Chibi, bro. You remember what the like,
The one line from fucking LT that always makes me laugh for some reason. Nobody else could pull it off. Is when like Chewy was talking about something. I forget what he was talking. He goes, I was talking with a guy on Xbox Live, and you just hear LT in the background on Xbox Live, and then 2 seconds later, he starts laughing, and I don't know why that made everybody laugh too. But only he could have made that one work, man. I don't know.
I remember, bro. I think like it was like we were talking boxing, right? Of course, because it was on your panel. And like I don't know, like no sé, way. Like to me, it was funny, bro, because this is why I had to say it again, porque like we're talking boxing, and this guy's talking about him playing Xbox Live.
Yeah, you know what? You definitely need to become a regular again when we do, because open lines right now, it's getting kind of stale because there's no big fights going on that really capture the spirit's imagination or the fights public's imagination. But Zepeda, Shakur Stevenson reminds me a little bit of Shakur Stevenson Valdez, man. So definitely need to come back for that one.
Oh, for sure, bro. ¿Sabes qué, güey? This is what you need to do, bro. In times like this, bro, you need to like call out for Mirage. The dude will pop up. Trust me.
Oh, he was in the
dude
show,
will
but it's
pop
getting
up.
boring, man. He's getting boring with the whole.
Y nomás diles cagada, güey. Güey, fuck. Ya cuando está Mirage, güey, fuck the boxing talk. Ya es nomás tirarle caca, güey.
Yeah, listen, I'd let him on. I'd let him on if there's a Benavidez fight going on. But if there's other stuff going, even if there's nothing exciting going on, but there's other stuff going on that we can talk about boxing wise. Come on, Benavidez, Canelo. I mean,
nah, güey, yo sé, güey. I'm with you 100%, bro. The dude is super repetitive. Hasta cae muy mal, güey. Hasta te empieza a caer muy mal, güey, porque uno quiere hablar de otras cosas y nomás no se puede, güey, con este pendejo, güey.
Hasta se me hace que es como que del otro bando. No quiero decirlo en inglés en eso.
Sí, pero yo te entiendo al 100, como que
Keep it in English,
juega para el...
Keep it in English.
Juega para...
I can't say it in English because in YouTube. Yeah, I can't say it in English because in YouTube.
Como, like, he plays for the wrong team, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know what you mean, bro. Like...
Keep it in English or I'll send you to El Salvador.
No, it's all right. Yeah,
well, so we're talking about LT. So what's your take on Stevenson against Camarón?
Yo, man, I'm thinking William beats him, bro. But what the fuck do I know? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm scared about the referee. I'm scared about like the referee not implementing the fucking rules.
Yeah, the clinching shit, bro. And I'm glad you fucking brought it up, bro. I'm glad that you're pushing this, bro. Because like I don't think Shakur has anything to keep him off him, and I don't think all he's gonna do is like run or clinch. I think that's what he's gonna do, bro. And if they get the wrong referee for it, like in his favor, pues ya valió verga, bro. Because you watch Devin Haney against whoever the fuck, bro. You watch all that hugging shit, bro. That wasn't nice.
No, man.
That wasn't nice at
all. By the way, you said you like the fact that we're pushing it. Not only am I pushing it, I'm pushing it with or without people's consent, and I'm pushing it deep. This whole anti-clinching thing, because it really does ruin the fight. I'll give you an example, and I'm gonna push it even deeper right now. Zepeda versus Farmer. That's the rematch.
There was no fucking clinching there, bro.
No. Zepeda versus Farmer too. Yeah, Farmer kept clinching every other second, and fucking what's his name, Mora, Sergio Mora on the zone. yeah, that's what he needs to do, make it dirty. And then the girl there with the lesbian haircut, okay, yeah, so he needs to make it dirty. It's like, oh, you're advocating for breaking the rules. What's the matter with you? And it ruined the fight.
Right. Yeah, man. It takes yes. No, I agree with you 100%. Thank you for reminding me. Bro, listen, bro. Like it's like you're removing his knockout, bro. Like you're removing his ability to get the knockout, bro. Like so, what are you trying to tell me? Like you're selling the event. Let me put it this: you're selling me the event. Like Oscar De La Hoya comes out with like glasses and shit. Like he just came out of the Playboy Mansion, right? Oscar comes out like he just came out of the Playboy Mansion. The dude has a fucking Donald Trump fucking tan, and he's out there saying, "Just watch this event. You're gonna see fireworks. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be in Mexico." And bro, and how they're selling it to you, bro, they have a pyramid on the background. So like, you know what I mean? Like well, maybe a couple of mapaches and shit. Like you're thinking, van a ver, verga, you know what I mean? Like a sacrificial some shit, you know what I mean? Like they're gonna pull someone's heart out, you know, like on live TV or some shit. No. Total opposite, bro. You go in there and they allow the dude to make it boring. And that's not even make it dirty, bro. I don't know what the fuck is Sergio Mora. Sergio Mora. I don't even know why the fuck Sergio Mora is fucking saying this. Oh, what he needs to do is make it dirty, bro. Make it dirty is hit him below, bro. You know what I mean? Hit him below. You know what, bro? He's catching me. Let me hit him in the balls. Let me catch a breath. You know what I mean? Maybe throw a couple of elbows like fucking Fondura. You know what I mean, bro? Right, I mean, let me make it dirty, bro. Right, maybe a headlock if you can, bro. Ya no puedes. Push him around, you know what I mean? Like how Tyson Fury like was wobbling fucking Deontay Wilder around, pushing him and shit, shoving his fucking glove. That's dirty, bro. You know what I mean?
Imagine
when you come to hugging, bro, that to me is just some straight gay shit, bro. Like, first of all, that's not what the people wanted to see, and especially not in Mexico. You know what I mean?
Imagine, you're absolutely right. Imagine the guy's headbutting and the commenters go, oh, yeah, that's what he needs to do. He needs to keep breaking the rules. That's what they were saying.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly.
Veteran tactics.
And then when veteran tactics, yeah, and then when a fighter unfortunately passes away, as they do every year, it's a tragedy. But then when they die, they all come out with the candles and, oh my God, we got to respect fighters. When no fighter is a coward. But then you're advocating for breaking the rules, so you don't care about fighter safety. Yeah.
Para nada, bro. Bro, it's just simple, bro. It's like they don't want to let the referee do his job. Like, yo, bro, like if you don't allow clinching, the referee is going to have to do his job in stopping the fight. Like if he's not throwing anything back, he's going to have to stop it. Give him the fucking KO. But nah, bro, they prefer to like, I don't know, bro. Oh, man, and you know what, bro? It happens, like, I hate to sound this way, bro, but it sounds like it's leaning always toward that Moreno side. You know what I mean? Like, los perdonan bien gacho, güey. Like, you know what I mean? Oh, he's fighting out of the Philly shell. He's black. Let him clench. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I'm feeling, bro.
It's his style.
You know what I mean? That dude can be Puerto Rican or some shit.
Yeah. No,
yeah, bro. Like
it's okay. It's okay. It's his style. Let it be. But no, like it's illegal.
Let it be 100%.
You know,
that's crazy.
Now, when it comes to Zepeda against what the fuck, Shakur will not fight like Tarver.
Shakur.
I call him Shakur because Stevenson's too bland. Like Stevenson.
Come on. No, maybe it sounds to me like you're a fan of the guy, but whatever.
My friend Shakur.
Call him Shakira, bro. Call him Shakira.
When my friend Shakur fights Zepeda, he won't fight him like not Tarver. Farmer did. He won't fight him like Farmer. He's gonna be on the back foot, guys. Don't expect this guy to stand his ground and exchange with Cameron. He's gonna be on the back foot
with William. It's gonna come dude. The dude's gonna be running around, bro.
Yeah, he will.
And remember, we were talking about this BDA. How we were saying how like Shakur like fights like a scared little rabbit. It's just like, let me jump off this bitch. You remember that shit?
Well, yeah.
No, right? So that's how he's gonna fight. That's his style, bro. Dude.
Well, I said yeah. Bro, like... I said yeah with some ambivalence because it depends. I mean, he did stand his ground a little bit more against Hartunonian, however you pronounce his name. So that fight, I mean, that dude does hit hard. I mean, Frank Martin testified to that. So I don't think Shakur Stevenson is that much of. I think it's the speed that troubles him, the speed and the power. And then Zepeda is going to be throwing a lot of shots, but he's slow. So maybe Shakur Stevenson is going to feel comfortable being in the pocket a little bit more. I know, we'll see. Remains to be
Still
seen.
got Zepeda winning this bitch, bro. If it's played right, how it's supposed to be, William Zepeda shouldn't have no fucking problem of closing down the ring, bro, and putting some hands on this fucking kid. Because let's be honest, Shakur stands with if he decides to trade with you, the dude's gonna throw 1-2 punches at most. It's super slow too. I don't even think that dude has lightning speed either. Like that dude is super slow when he's with you in the pocket and he decides to trade with you. I think the dude's super slow because he likes to think. He likes to think. And William Zepeda is the type of fighter that he doesn't want you to think. You know what I mean? He's bringing all of it all at the same time. Here it comes, here, one shot here, one shot down there, over here, over there, over here, over there. Overwhelm you. You know what I mean? And these fighters that like to think, that's the disadvantage against this type of fighter. So I honestly think William Zepeda should take this. But then again, this fucking clinching shit.
Yeah, we shall see. We shall see. We need a good referee.
That's what I'm afraid of. The refs and the judges, all of that. And by the way, Zepeda needs to win for the good of boxing. Because I'm done with Shakur. I mean, this guy's boring. He is boring, and everybody knows
100%.
if he wins, what's next? What is next?
Indeed.
More of
100%.
this guy? No, come on.
100%, bro. That's fucking crazy.
Yo,
Nah, man, and I was remembering how Shakur, like on his last fight, I think, was it his last fight or the one before his last fight on ESPN? Yo, they made it big for him. You know, they brought Floyd Mayweather, they brought Andre Ward, they brought Crawford, and like they took pictures with him before the fight, like if they're anointing him like the next. Super black dude, you know what I mean? The slick, whatever, you know what I mean? Like the next dude, the next black dude that's gonna.
That's the plan.
You know,
that was for the Stevenson fight. And then, I mean, I didn't have too much criticism for the Hartunonian fight. I mean, like I said, a lot of people were disappointed because they thought he was gonna stop him. They didn't know. I think most casual fans over there in Jersey didn't know who Hartunonian was, and so they thought Shakur was just gonna dog walk the guy. And then when he couldn't, they started walking off before the last round. But I was satisfied with the performance because I already knew. So I sort of was looking forward to that. I mean, I knew that I'm not looking forward in the sense that I was looking forward to enjoy it, but that I knew that was the benchmark. Shakur Stevenson, at best, at his most entertaining, is going to be a guy that outworks his opponents and outboxes them. Unless he's fighting an electrician at the last minute, he ain't getting that many stoppages.
right? 100%. Yeah, because the dude is super. He just likes to think too much, bro. And when I remember the fight where the dude was saying, "I'm gonna get the stoppage. I'm gonna get the stoppage." Why he didn't get the stoppage?
Well, that was the weird thing. He kept saying that during the fight. Watch. Every time he would go back to the corner, watch. I'm gonna stop him. And then his uncle or grandfather, whoever is in the corner, is like, "Man, you gotta stop doing this. You gotta stop doing that." I was like, "No, hold on. I'm gonna stop him. And then he had the goal to say when the final bell rang, he had the goal to tell Hartunonian, "Oh, you came in with your track shoes on, huh?" As if the guy ran. The guy didn't run. He was right in front of you. It's like he's insane. The guy's insane, man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy.
Bucho,
Yeah.
Bucho, BDA. Y'all checking out my that new video I dropped?
No, I didn't see it. What is it?
It's a video about what happened with the Kumites. No, it's a video I dropped of what happened with one of the Kumites. It's called the Indigenous Boxing Fan Gets G-Checked at the BDA Kumite event. The star of the show is right here at Nano LT.
Oh boy.
You're making videos about me? Oh my god, I'm so honored.
Yeah, you guys get a lot of views, bro. Go check it out, bro. You're the star, bro.
Thank you, bro. I'm so honored.
Yeah.
Well, do you want more of my attention? Well, what do you want? Like, you want a picture of me too?
No,
Like, what do you want me to pull it out? You can put it in your mouth?
I'll talk to BD and Bucho.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. Listen, bro.
You should go watch it too,
bro.
though.
Once you're making a video about me, ya me la estás mamando.
Hey, you'll like it too, bro.
Once you start making videos about me, me la estás mamando, güey. Porque you're thinking about me hard.
We need another kumite. All right. We need another kumite to settle this, I think. I don't need
those who can't do.
Well, let it go for 5 minutes. Let it go for 5 minutes. See what happens, man. Maybe they resolve it right here.
All right.
So
Pues yo no sé, güey, pero sí la tengo dura, güey. Si me la quieres chupar, aquí estoy, puto. ¿Qué onda?
Come on.
All right.
No. I just want to go put some information out there. You know what I mean? You and your homeboy TBS, you little faggots, were talking shit about me. So don't get mad when someone swings back, okay, little puto? Right? How long were you?
How long were you on there with TBS trying to talk shit, bitch? And then what he say?
Güey, estás
He
bien
said,
chaval.
man, he said, hey, man,
Risa la
he
verga,
had
güey.
to
Mi
check you
mamá luego
too.
videos,
He had
puto,
to
no,
check
para
you
que
too.
sepas.
He had to check you too, right? He said, hey, man, that's enough. This
Güey, vale
video
más
isn't
que le
about
hagas
him.
videos a tu mamá
You
la
wanted to
verga,
keep
güey,
talking
porque
about
ni
me.
piensas
You
en
wanted
ella,
to keep
culero, al
talking
chile,
about me. You
güey.
say, hey, look, bro, that's enough. This video's not even about him. Shut the fuck up. And you're like, okay, pues,
Pues, ¿qué
dale,
verga
guy.
quieres?
Yeah, yeah. You got my photos up using my photos and shit. And you saying que yo lo quiero mamar a ti? Why you got my pictures in your phone, bitch? What are you talking
Güey, ¿para
about?
qué lloras a la
Hey,
verga, güey? No
you said
llores,
you said
calmao.
those tattoos are mine.
Mijo,
My hands are
calmao,
too
mijo.
big. You said my hands are too
mijo,
big. Hey, you said my hands are too big. You said those can't be my hands are too big. They intimidate you, bro. Those are my tattoos. Those tattoos are real. That's the shit you were saying, right? That's the shit you were saying, right? That's the shit you were saying, right? You don't want to say it here? You want to talk boxing now?
Hey, güey.
Now you got nothing to say? Hey, ahora sí no tienes nada que decir, güey?
Güey.
Now you don't got shit to say, bro?
Güey, me
Now
da
you don't got shit to
risa,
say when I'm on the panel with
Me da
you?
risa
Now you
que
don't got
you wanna
shit.
be.
When
Me
you're
da
by
risa,
yourself with your homeboy, when
Me
you're
da
with your homeboy
risa,
not saying
pinche
shit, you had a lot
bro.
to say, right? But now I'm here on the panel with you. You don't want to talk nothing, right? You don't want to talk about it. Now you're over it. Now you're over it. Now you're over it, huh?
Arrastrar tu pinche culo en todas las pinches calles donde caigo, güey. Me da risa, güey. Trust me, güey, no pienso tanto así de ti, güey. Como te
Hey,
dije,
you
güey.
did enough to talk about me for 30 minutes, right?
Como
You
te
did enough
dije,
to
güey.
talk about
Ay,
me
güey,
until
la
the school told you to
tengo
shut up
bien,
about it, right?
güey,
You did
aquí
enough
la
to
tengo
talk
bien,
about me
güey.
until you told you to shut up about it, right?
You want it or what?
Yeah, you wanted to keep talking
want
about it. The
it or
video
what?
wasn't even about me. He was like, hey, bro,
Güey,
shut
you
the
want
fuck
it or
up.
what?
The
Yes
video
or
ain't
no,
about him.
bitch? You want it or no? I'm gonna put it back in. O sea, me la voy a guardar, güey.
What's going on?
Once they sip up,
this
ya,
is
mi
the
modo, güey. Ya te
groomer.
Leave the
chingaste,
zebras
güey. You
alone.
won't be
Hey,
stuck in it no
LT,
more.
I heard about you, bro. Leave the zebras alone, all right?
That's the groomer, right?
Hey,
That's the
bro,
groomer, right?
fuck you and
Yeah,
the
this is-
zebras, bro. It's all about fucking
No,
rhino.
you try to
How about
fuck
that?
the zebras. That's what I heard, bro. I heard you try to fuck the zebras.
Dude, look. I knew
You try to jack
Rhino.
Let me say this. I knew this was going to happen as soon as I heard that dude say, bro. I was like, oh, shit, that's the guy right there. That's the groomer.
That's the dog groomer,
The
motherfucker.
groomer. The groomer.
That's
He's
it.
the groomer.
That's a
That's
good
so-
cover.
Yo,
there.
bro,
So-
hold on.
Yeah,
You
nano groomer.
fuckers-
That's a
Hold
good
on,
cover there. That's a
bro.
good cover.
Bro, you
What do you mean? The
fuckers
groomer.
think-
He's a groomer, yeah.
Nano.
Dude, he grooms
Groomer,
dogs,
nano.
Eh, güey, cállate los hocico, la verga. So hold on, Food TV. Who the fuck are you, bro? Hold on. Are you his boyfriend? Hold on, bro. Are you guys gay, dude? Like, hey, bro, I don't care,
you
bro.
wish.
Hey,
You
fuck
fucking
it. I
wish.
don't care, bro. I'm down for a threesome, bro. Who's bending first,
Oh,
bro?
God.
Oh,
Oh,
fuck you
God. Look
both
at
at
this
the
guy.
same time,
Oh,
bro. I
my
don't
God.
give
Then
a
he's
fuck.
saying he's down for a threesome. Oh, my God.
Yeah,
This
bro.
motherfucker's gay.
Because you came in here like you knew me. Like, who the fuck are you?
I saw you in the
Like,
video,
who
bro.
the
I saw
fuck
you in the
are you,
video.
bro?
He's trying to get mad.
Calm
Hey,
down,
bro,
calm down,
chill
calm down.
out,
You're scared.
bro. Tell me who the
Calm down.
fuck
You
are
scared
you,
me.
bro? Who the
You scared
fuck
me,
are
bro.
you?
Calm down. Please don't hit me.
Nah, bro, nah, that's your little boyfriend over there. I'm trying to talk to you.
Oh,
Who the
God,
fuck
you
are
want
you?
him off? You want him off for yourself?
No, bro, after you're done with him, I'll go next. How about that? You like that shit?
That's even worse.
Sí, güey, cállate la cita, la verga.
HLT like sloppy seconds, bro. He nasty.
That's disgusting. This whole thing's
Hey,
disgusting.
bro,
What the
fuck it,
fuck?
bro. Hey, bro, if you're offering your ass, bro, I don't fucking mind, bro. I got 2 beers in me. Give me 5 and I'll go down, bro.
Damn.
Damn, bro. You only need
There's
two.
a lot of stuff
That's
coming
the
out right now. There's a lot of things coming out.
Oh, boring. All right. We have enough here. Enough of this shit. I don't even know what the fuck's going on.
I don't know.
From what I
I
understand,
just came to promote my video. I just came to
from what
promote
I
my video. I
understand-
want you guys to check it out. I want you guys to check
From
out
what I
my video.
understand, Butcha, let me explain it to you. From
Yeah.
what I understand, there's a war going on in the YouTube streets right now. Some people, that's why you haven't seen some people go live. They're hitting the mattresses. There's like the Colombos going at it against the DiMeo family or whatever it was. That's what it is right now. You got different factions, people going at it, new alliances being formed every day. And it's quite exciting. I suggest you join our Discord or
Yes,
Sober's
exactly.
Discord too for some of the. And I don't know, Food TV. I didn't know you weren't involved in this.
No. I saw the video. I saw the video, and Sobers was talking about it the other day.
Yeah, you saw the video. You should go watch the
Very
live.
entertaining
bro.
I
video.
saw the video.
Everyone
No,
go check it out.
No, I heard the guy say bro because he said he was talking about that. That was funny. The amount of times he said bro.
Oh, I apologize, Food TV. I thought you were his boyfriend, bro. I'm sorry, brother.
I mean, he's done good this time.
I'm
He's not
sorry,
saying bro.
I
He's
thought
not
you
saying
guys
bro
were
that much.
fucking and shit, bro. I apologize, bro.
That's a
Fuck, my
weird-
bad.
That's a weird.
Now I
thing
feel
to
like
say.
an asshole, bro. I thought you two were fucking, dude. Fuck, what an ass, dude. I
You
apologize.
usually
100%.
think of the men fucking, huh?
I mean, when it comes to two fuckers defending each other, that's kind of gay for me, bro.
Defending.
So yeah, I think you guys were fucking. I apologize. I'm sorry.
No. I just
I'll
knew
be
this was gonna happen.
I'll be the man in this bitch, and I'll say I apologize, bro. I thought you guys were fucking.
Hey, that's what I heard they were doing it on the cruise. Hey, hold on.
No homo shit,
LT,
bro. We good,
I heard
bro.
that's what you did to get on that cruise, bro. I heard that's what you did to get on that cruise. I heard you had to share a room. I heard you had to share a room with Brian Harkin, bro.
Yeah, bro. I
And you
know
weren't
that
sleeping on the floor. And you weren't sleeping on the floor.
Yo,
Hey,
bro,
you weren't sleeping on the
have
floor.
a fascination on there, bro.
Is that how you got that shit on your legs? Is that how you got that fucking flesh-eating virus on your legs, bro?
And what? And you jealous because you didn't
I
get
heard
this
you had to
dick
share a
or
room
what?
with Brian Harkin. Is that
Yeah,
true?
bro, and you jealous because you
I
didn't
heard
get
you had to
this
share a
dick.
room with Brian Harkin.
Yeah,
Is that
bro,
true?
and you jealous because you didn't get this dick. I
And
know
you
you
weren't
weren't
sleeping
cool
on the
like
floor.
shit, bro.
I heard that you said that you couldn't sleep on the floor. You had to sleep on the
No,
bed.
you're funny, bro. I know how fucking strong
So what happened on that cruise, bro? What happened on the cruise? What happened on that cruise when you shared that
Little
bed?
fucking punk faggot.
What happened on that
Down
cruise
on
when you
my
shared that
car.
bed?
Oh shit! Ooh!
Yeah. How did you pay for that cruise, bro? We know you're
Get
broke.
more information. Oh my god, he got me, bro. Oh my god.
How did you pay your way on that cruise, bro?
Trying to get more information about LT's escapades, about LT's life. Oh, bro, you fucking honor me right
LT's
now.
life.
I'm about
LT's
to nut
life,
right
bro.
now, bro.
Bro, that cruise is your whole life, bro. That cruise is the shining crown of your life, bro. Let's calm down, bro. Hey, let's calm down, bro.
Call me daddy when you're fucking my dick.
Jerry.
Call me daddy when you're sucking my dick,
What happened on the
bro.
cruise? What happened on the cruise, LT?
Call me daddy when you're sucking my dick. How about that?
Hey, what happened on the cruise?
What's up with
Is
all
that
the
what
gay
Brian Harkin
stuff?
told you? Is that what Brian Harkin told you?
A lot of gay stuff happening here.
Y'all had to share a room, right? Y'all had to share a room, right? Hey, y'all had to share a room, right?
Get more fucking
You had to share a room, right?
Yeah, bro, you
You
know
had to
what?
share a room, right?
Yeah, bro, you know what, bro?
Just say yes
You
or
know what,
no.
bro?
Just say
You know
yes
what
or
I
no.
did?
You guys had to share a room? Just say
You know
yes
what
or
I
no.
did?
Just say yes or no.
Hey, you know what?
Just
You know
say
what I
yes or
did?
no. You
know
guys
what
had
I
to
did?
share a room.
I got
Just
you
say
little
yes or no.
fucking faggot trying to fucking talk, get more information
If
about
the
me.
answer is yes, don't answer the question.
Answer yes. Cállate los
If the answer is yes, don't answer the question. You got to share a room with that fool.
You're on my dick. You're on my time, bro. You're on my dick. You fucking chavalon.
You pull on my nuts first. Don't get mad when someone swings back. Don't get mad when someone swings back. Don't get mad when someone swings back. Just because you ran up on you, just you got ran up on is fucking shamed up at BJ headquarters again, bro. You ain't gonna get slapped around here, bro. You ain't safe around here, LT. You get slapped around when you come here, bitch. You get slapped around when you come here, bitch. Yeah. Pinche hielero. Pinche hielero. Get some more ice, bitch. Smoke some more ice, bitch.
Bro.
Smoke some more ice, bro. That's what that shit on your leg is from, right? The yellow.
You're trying to sit on my dick,
You're
bro.
bad on that shit, boy. It's fucking up your legs.
You're my bitch.
Hey, you're on that yellow bad way. It's fucking up your legs.
I'm coming, motherfucker. I'm gonna come and
Hey,
bitch
bro, you're on that yellow bad. It's fucking up your legs.
That ass is on my dick. You got it?
Here, look at the picture.
Your ass on my dick.
Wait. He just said your ass on his dick.
I want you to fucking get it inside your head. Your ass on my dick. Writing it.
Oh,
It's up to
very
you.
good.
God.
Get it? You
What
fix
is up with
it. You
this
fix
guy?
it. Yeah, okay. If it's gay,
You
stop
talking
fucking
on my
writing
nuts.
it.
You talking on my nuts, bro. Now you mad you got some attention?
You fucking
You
love
talking on my
that
nuts.
shit.
Now you mad you got some
This guy
attention, bro?
loves that shit. He loves writing my
Yeah.
dick.
You want to talk about me for 30 minutes on another dude's channel?
Hey, fool, whatever
And
the
I'm
fuck
here to talk to you now.
And if you don't like it, don't write my
You trying
dick
to play
there,
a
bro.
victim. You trying to play the victim, bro.
I'm
Well,
trying
I
to
gotta
play
tell
the
you.
victim. El pendejo. Trying to play the victim. Oh
The
my
dog
god.
groomer, the groomer, bro, the groomer.
Chavalón
The
cagado,
groomer, bro.
dude.
The groomer.
The groomer.
Listen. I was
Fucking
listen.
groomer.
The groomer, the doctor, the petite doctor.
He was. I heard he was a groomer
Petite
before he was a groomer.
You got me, bro. You're fucking.
I gotta tell you, if you guys enjoy, if
Hey,
you guys listen,
bro, you know what, bro?
Let
It's
me
because
get
you guys are a
Raiders'
bunch
number.
of
Let me
new
get Raiders' number.
motherfuckers, bro.
Let me
You
get
guys
Raiders'
are a bunch
number.
of new little punk motherfuckers,
Let me
bro.
get T.Y.'s
They've
number.
been telling me
Let me get
jokes. Hold
T.Y.'s
on,
number.
no. They've been
Let me
telling
get
me
T.Y.'s
jokes
number.
about me
Let me get
working at
T.Y.'s
the
number.
zoo,
Let
me
me get
wearing
Raiders'
fucking
number.
animals, me doing fucking groomer with dogs and shit for years, bro. You guys are new and you think you guys are being funny and shit. Bro, whatever little gay jokes you think you guys are trying to tell me, bro, I've heard it before plenty of times.
Label's funny. Groomer, you know.
All right. I think that's.
Well, yeah, because you're new to the white TBC, bro.
All right, get him out of here,
They
Bucho.
told me that shit, bro.
All right. That's.
You know what?
I know you guys are fucking
That shit to clean up his mouth and get him out of here.
A bit of a disclaimer. I hope Black and Brown goes live tonight because I suspect that you're gonna. I'm telling you, this is citywide. If the YouTube boxing community is a city, this is
Yeah, bro,
citywide.
look at this guy trying to honor me sucking my dick. See or no, BDA?
Well, listen. It's like when you go to a nightclub and you think there's a war going on. You go to a nightclub, and then the war spills over to the nightclub.
He's my son, bro. He's my son.
All right.
Little fucking soldier,
You're a groomer, bro. You're a groomer, bro. Leave the zebras alone, homie.
All right.
Leave the zebras alone, bro. Get that shit on your legs checked out. Get that.
Well, that was chaotic. I don't know what the fuck was that all about, but I hope you guys enjoyed a good laugh at the end. We're gonna end the show. Don't forget to hit the like button. Check out Discord, link in the description. If you want to support the show, there's Patreon, and pretty much it. Oh, wait, let's take a look at the list. This is the boxing wish list that we created. Marcy says that's how we roll. Yep. All right, you know what, guys? We should have another wish list show because I have more things to add, but fortunately, we have to end the show. It's been already almost 3 hours. So, anyways, guys, I'm trying to look for the fucking song here. Have a good night. Take care. I'm just gonna play a random song.